Welcome out, gamers and gamettes, to this RGL.GG Invite Highlander playoff match. We are in the Season 23 upper bracket finals between Dumb Kids and Witness Gaming, the 1 versus 2 seed. These two teams played a banger of a match in the regular season, and now they are going at it again to determine who will make it into the grand finals and who will drop down into the lower bracket to take on the winner of the other game tonight, Penguin Logistics versus Run It Back. I am Alto, joined by Zag to my side, Dolphin behind the camera as always. Zag, how you doing tonight?
Doing great. Excited for this one. This is one that we've been waiting for the entirety of the season. This was our perceived 1 and 2 seeds coming into it. That regular season match gave us a bit of a preview on product, and that's going to be the map we start out here tonight. Both these teams going to be vying for that title. We actually just have no clue who even is the favorite coming into the upper bracket finals. And if we don't have a necessarily decisive result tonight, that could be true going all the way. So hopefully we do have a competitive series here.
Absolutely, yeah. And I mean, don't want to discount anyone that's going to be coming out of the lower bracket as well. We've had a lot of close matches between all of the top invite teams tonight. But Zag, I think we're going to have a lot to talk about with the maps tonight. So let's hit the rosters real quick and then move on.
Yeah, Dolphin, we're doing things out of order because we decided to on the moment. Anyway, so on the side of Dumb Kids, you guys know all these teams by now. On the side of Dumb Kids, we got Triple on Scout, Billy Boy on Soldier, Fuzzy Pyro, Crump on Demo Man, Took on Heavy, Carson on Engineer, Blake on Medic, Brian on Sniper, and Jacob on Spy.
Over on the side of Witness Gaming, it will be Blank on Scout, Poseidon on Soldier, Leaf on Pyro, Kira Demoman, Erie on Heavy, Flu Engineer, Ashley on Medic, Lenny on Sniper, and Fish as Spy.
Yeah, and like I said, you guys know these teams. These are all tenured invite players. We've had them on cast multiple times this season and in past seasons, so the matchups back and forth, everyone's going to have their opinions on which player is better, when, and where. The maps are really what I want to get into here, because we do have almost every player in the server. The maps are going to be the big determining factor here tonight, in my opinion. And there's a big question mark in these map picks. If you see them, they are abnormal, to say the least. So I want to start with Dumb Kids, because they are our 1 seed, so they had a final pick on the tiebreaker for this one. They go Steel Ban, product pick. Makes total sense. Steel's the wildcard map that if you don't practice it, you just get rid of it, don't want to risk anything catastrophic happening. And then product was the regular season match they won on, I believe it was 4-2. So they feel comfort on product, they are fine with it being their map pick, and so they take it in as their choice. Witness Gaming do something very strange. That Swiftwater ban is a wildcard ban.
The Brain Destroyer.
Yeah, that is the Brain Destroyer ban. And the reason why I say this is because me and Alto both perceive Witness as a good Swiftwater team. We casted them in the regular season on it. They looked very, very good. They had good strategies. They had good practice. Their macro was on point. But they don't want to play it. So they opt to take it out, ban Prute for the second, and then they take Vigil as a stopwatch. So you ban a stopwatch to pick a stopwatch. And then Asheville is our tiebreaker over Upward, which some kids are always going to do that, so that's not surprising. So Witness Gaming really just throwing a curveball and seeing if it sticks.
Yeah, and what really gets me is that, I one of the things that I think is very interesting about RGL's shift to the kind of best of 5 grand finals, eliminating the bracket reset, is that previously the way of the 4 stopwatch 3 coth meant that any team could force double stopwatch if they wanted to, regardless of whether they were the upper or the lower seed. However, adding in the best of 5 grand finals with the map ad as it is means that the upper seed in grand final can make the maps go coth, stopwatch, meaning that they're able to win grands only needing to win on 2 coth maps. What this does is this means that the upper bracket finals is the last time, assuming that, you win, right? Where you're able to force a double stopwatch and actually, leverage that advantage over a team that may be better at Koth. DK is a team that we've established for a while is a Koth team. They pick Koth, they ban Steel and they pick double Koth. That should be pretty obvious. Last season, the team that was going against them did the exact same thing, let them get double Koth in the upper bracket finals, lost on both Koth maps, and then goes into Grands, loses on Koth, wins on stopwatch, loses on Koth. So I'm of the opinion that this is a very easy call to say, okay, leverage the fact you can force double stopwatch now against a team that doesn't really want to play it. And then, even if you lose, you can still try out the double cough in grand finals because DK is very likely to pick that. However, now you have all of your eggs, if you're Witness Gaming, in the double cough basket, because you're gonna need to win. You're gonna need to, assuming that they win on Vigil, which is a very big assumption. But even if you assume that Vigil's an automatic win, they're still gonna have to beat DK on a cough map, which is very difficult. And even if they, if they don't, that's it. And DK knows that they can take double cough all the way to Grants. And I'm a little, frustrated at that. It feels like you're giving a really big advantage to DK that they didn't necessarily earn. I think the Swift ban of everything, too, is a very crazy stopwatch to ban. I think if you're afraid of Brian taking over a match, you'd probably want to ban Upward. Instead, that map goes just, unpicked or unbanned between both teams. But it's frustrating. Obviously, we're not on the teams, right? We don't know what the discussion is. We don't know what the rationale is. Maybe our Witness comes out in 2-0s and, we look kind of silly. But if Witness loses, this is, to me, going to be the sticking point of the season.
Yeah, it's the type of thing where we're going to question it until we see how it turns out. And, you can say from that point, it's going to be, results-based analysis regardless. But, just going into it, it's not like Witness is a weak Swiftwater team. Far from it. I'd say they're easily, the best Swiftwater team or second best Swiftwater team if they think Dumb Kids are the best one, right? So you might say that alone is not worth much, but it's not like they looked pedestrian on the map or that they don't have any idea how to play it or they don't practice it. They look good on the map. This core has been good at Swiftwater for a very long time. So first banning it is just it's so out of left field to me. I mean, we'll see if it pays off. Maybe scrims didn't go well. Maybe they had a turning point somewhere in the season where they realized that they don't actually like the map that much. Maybe they scrimmed Dumb Kids during the week of the match, right? And they didn't like the results there. And so they said, okay, we're not going to play Swiftwater. But, regardless of what happens tonight, the fact that they did ban Swiftwater is just going to be a really big point to drive home, where we'll see if it ends up working for them. We do have a product coming up here first, and the ready-up is through, so we're going to be getting into the match here.
Yep, going to be DK on blue, Witness Gaming on red. Cliff rollout coming through for Crump right now. He's just going to walk up Valley rather than look for any jumps. Make sure he comes in pretty healthy. Bit of a passive mid thus far. Billy Boy, though, going in over the top onto China. Get some damage onto Lenny. Very aggressive, though, on concrete. Fuzzy! The reflex triple off the bat starts it with a bang, showing why they're so comfortable on this cough pick. Lots of low health bars on the side of DK, but their med stays alive. That's going to be enough. And if anyone had that on their prediction card for the first mid, then, let me know. And
I mean, that's the rarest bingo spot possible, is Pyro solo carries mid-fight on product. That Reflect Pipes instantly nukes the combo
I
of
would
Witness.
even say, I've seen some, Pyro waits towards the end, gets the WM1 on people,
no, that's
but
a straight up solo carry
Pipe
from
3K,
neutral, yeah.
Brian, though, onto Lenny, going to take out that attacking step.
Reflected, Fuzzy denies the spy, Fish cannot get that backstep onto Blake, so Blake maintains this full Uber, and now Witness Gaming trying to edge their way up toward the point, but too many players went down, just going to wait and charge their Uber, actually up on 75%. So, I mean, first minute of the match has gone very well for Dumb Kids on their map pick here, so we'll see when the Ubers come out what this exchange is going to look like. Witness Gaming trying to get themselves into the game.
Yeah, and I mean, ultimately, if you're Witness, to me, I feel like you probably have to look at this and say, it's very likely that, whatever cough you're going to play first, you have to assume DK's going to be favored on it.
Uber coming in.
Because it's what they're going to pick, yep.
From Witness. It's a solo onto Kira. Blank nowhere to be found. He finally meets up with the team, but no one going down in the Uber. Not much damage being dealt either. So now we're into neutral. Bomb over the top by Billy Boy, looking for Lenny. Just nukes him off the map. So Brian uncontested here. Billy Boy will go down for his trouble, but that's a trade you're willing to make. Fuzzy dead, though, so that means there's not going to be a lot of combo pressure, especially with the stab coming onto Duke. So despite that good opener onto the sniper, it looks like Dumb Kids have bled enough players they have to leave.
Yeah. Finally, it's gonna, even Ashley getting in on the fragging action, taking out Jacob. Lenny still without a point thus far. Lenny and Duke, the two donuts thus far in the server, but, you know, able to get that point captured without your sniper needing to do anything. 1 point now is going to be a good sign. You know, you have other frags coming in. You're not solely dependent on Lenny to get things done. Billy Boy though coming in. It's one rocket onto Lenny. Good dodge up.
Look at Tuke though. Tuke has a good position. Takes down Blank. The scout pick is a good one. Trades his life for it though. And here comes the Uber forced out. Blake kind of in no man's land and will get landed on, taken down by Poseidon and Kira, doubling up those explosives. So good sync by Witness Gaming there to get that enemy medic down. And they have control of the point. They're getting time, but spawn timer advantage towards some kids. They're going to keep sacking in, trying to go for kills. Lenny gets on the board with a kill onto Carson. Going to be taking down that enemy heavy, and Billy Boy's still trying to be a nuisance, and he is going to succeed in forcing Witness Gaming back. Respawns are here for dumb kids, so going to get on to the point.
Yep, Brian is playing on the pixel angle on the side of China right now, so going to be dangerous if they try to get back in. Ashley maybe doesn't even know that she's in the sideline, but Lenny instead finding the medic. Fish going to take out Brian next, and all the kills going in favor of Witness Gaming on this cleanup. Blank gonna be not but a consolation. Billy Boy not able to find the med pick and counter espionage. Oh, not counter espionage, but Fish finishing off Carson right there. Thought that was a spy. And after that, you know, Reflect Pipe clearly caught them off guard a little bit. It's been all Witness Gaming for the past minute and a half here as they tie up the time and take the lead.
Yeah, Lenny and Fish are getting a lot of value, taking down key classes at good times right now, and it's making it very easy for Witness Gaming to maintain their presence. Now Spawner's in for Dumb Kids, actually has 100% Uber. Jacob looking for the force, will get that out with the help of his team pressuring. Lenny gets fuzzy on the back out, and Jacob dies, but Blake surfing out will be safe for now. So 50% Uber for Dumb Kids to work with. They get a couple of picks on the exit, notably Fish, the only one still dead. So here comes a soldier. They're going to pick up on Brian, but Poseidon's going to get taken down. A bit out of sync with his team there.
Reflect Pipe or a rocket from Melon now onto Tuke, takes him out. May stall the push a little bit, but Blake at 85 gonna have enough time for his heavy to come back up before walking in. Jacob getting in position as well. So this ad going to meet a lot here. Brian already aggressive off on China. Billy Boy over the top. Everyone in Witness Gaming starting to play back. Buzzy gets caught out by likely a trap. Fish finds Brian again, and that could potentially signal the refight, but Kira going
Kira's
down.
Dead. And so is Eerie, Tuke winning out. Yeah, Tuke winning out on the concrete fight, as well as Kira winning on the Demo Man fight, means combo has reigned supreme. 4 dumb kids here get to keep control of the point, and Blake, importantly, held the Uber down to 70 HP, but manages to keep it up, and they will have Uber to match Witness Gaming here, so this is their chance to get back in the driver's seat. They have gone to time deficit here, but with sub 1 minute on the clock for both teams, it's going to be competitive. But Lenny, that's a 3rd straight SBS win for Lenny.
Yeah, between the pick classes of, you know, Witness Gaming, Brian's not been able to play the game at all the past 2 minutes or so. Exchange goes out. Only a Telly gonna go down during it on the back line to Fish, but Billy Boy in over the top. Great reflex. Will take out Melon eventually, and gets Ashley with the fadeaway rocket. Jacob onto Lenny as well. Means that all of the cards are in DK's favor. Kira gonna go down
Fish
next.
is looking for the med pick, trying to find it, can't get the revolver shot. Blake gets out with his life, gets the hack as well, so healthy once more. Point still in favor of Dumb Kids, so they're getting some precious seconds off the clock. But if you're Blank, you should cap this. Yeah, he finally gets on it, but that was like 5 seconds gone. And now Dumb Kids looking to try and recontest. They have faster spawns now, so gonna try and maintain presence on the point.
Yeah, trying to just leverage their numbers they have right now. They're trying to get the aggression. Billy Boy in, gonna eventually trade with Melon. Jacob a little too aggressive, gets taken out.
Dead.
But Tuke walking up, able to get the spray damage onto Ashley from long range. Probably a revolver shot from Jacob in there as well, I would imagine, as Lenny onto Brian, opening up what could be an opening. Blake on 95.
Ooh, they're losing players.
It's going to be as good as over.
Yeah, I mean, they don't have position or players right now, so Dumb Kid's going to back up and just hold this full Uber advantage. They say, you know, cut the losses on that one. We have 20 seconds, regroup, buff everyone up, make one last push to win the round. So we'll see if this Uber actually is the difference maker or if Witness Gaming can kite it out and win it.
Yep.
Look at Lenny, he's on Cliff, he has an angle onto someone who peeks up. If he takes Tuke's hat off, it's huge. Here comes the Uber, shot does not land, now they're forcing out. The point cap is all they need. Fuzzy's going to be key to watch here, especially with Eerie going down. Tuke match them. Here comes Poseidon and trying to do damage, lands on the combo, does a lot of damage. It's a 4v5 right now in favor of Witness Gaming, flooding the point. Bombs in from Billy Boy and co. Triple trying to do some work, but it's not working. They're just going to get blasted off the point, and Witness Gaming take this one in double overtime, going up 1-0.
Yeah, the decision to back out passive, you know, wait for the spawners, fully give over the point, was maybe not the best one from DK in hindsight, as that full Uber ad just isn't enough. It's so telegraphed. Everyone on Witness knows how to play around it. and then big plays in the post fight, people winning their one. Points right now, Lenny to Brian is 22-7.
Yeah, Lenny really came alive after that for the first couple lives in that round, and carrying the game is really what he was doing. New mid, Poseidon goes over the top, looking for Brian. Two gets backstabbed immediately. It's a good pick by Fish. Poseidon and Crump going to also go down, so both teams operating in a player deficit. Here comes Billy and Jacob, looking to make a play off the combo, do a lot of damage, but they don't get the kills, which means that there's nothing left for Dumpkins to stand on here, and Witness Gaming going to be taking this mid.
This Billy, bomb coming into behind Rock is starting to, I think, get downloaded by the side of Witness Gaming. They've been denying him more and more, as he's done it 6 or 7 times already, and only a round and a little bit extra. So the really fast stab onto Duke, I think, just opens up a lot of pressure, and then eventually the numbers start trading out, but the kill onto Crump's going to be the other big one. And now Uber's come out, Kira jumping forward, they're trying to find Blake.
51 HP. Blake literally down to 1. He's trying to escape the power space, and he will go down. Melon getting the 99% kill.
95% to going down. That's the second 95% death for Blake thus far. Both of them coming on those aggressive Ubers out of Witness. Not sure if, he's thinking that they're closer to even when Ashley's outbuilding him or what, but they're able to catch him in. Lenny finds Carson, but you're going to go down. So the better trade for the offense, and that's going to be enough for them to cap back up.
Yeah, here comes a scout or a spy trying to do some work on the point. Fuzzy's taken down, but trades for Fish in the end of it. So still small man ad for Witness Gaming, and they're trying to pressure their spawns. Good kill into Poseidon, though. Going to make it available to open through Connector. Melon shredded through Tuke as a result. Will get piped out in trade, so nothing too decisive just yet. Jacob's in behind on House, and Lenny hits a headshot, forces them back. Here comes Billy looking for the pigs. Good stab off Blue and good headshot into Ashley. That collapse is exactly what they needed.
Yeah, with Melon going down, Billy not going to get denied by anyone who launches at me.
What a shot to Poseidon. If
Brian now activating, heard us talking shit on the cast.
Body shots, but you'll take them at the end of the day, defending his team on those bombers.
And yep, gonna be DK settling into the defense right now. Full ad really for Blake. So ball is in Witness's court to see how they're gonna push this. Have to imagine you want to see a sack coming through, try to get that Uber force, start the leapfrog. I think that was
just a body shot through
the
house. Yeah, so he can't bomb anymore. He's not healthy enough. So it looks like Witness Gaming, yeah, they're already at 50% though. I don't imagine they're going to want to sack. Probably just drive pressure to the point, try to force the Uber, but Brian coming to life, taking out Lenny. It might take more than drive pressure to get this out, but the Uber's used from Blake. Blake taking a 1 HP, pops out of, I guess, necessity. As they try to walk forward and get the cleanup kills, they get everyone except Ashley. So in the end, Witness are happy with that.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what was damaging Blake there that made him force, but you're very happy if you're... The forward hold, though, that said coming in, they're going to want to try to flush the Uber out from Witness with this once it comes up 85 right now or so.
Immediate clip roll, though. 9-man clip for Witness here, trying to go out there. Fish calling the positions is going to tell them exactly where everyone is. So look at this. Poseidon trying to come around on the flank and has control of Concrete again. Carson bleeds. That's not too big of a deal so far, but we will see Uber immediately coming off and clipping Witness here. Blake is kind of nowhere to be found.
No, they're finding him, and Blank's just walking in. Blank on Blake action takes him out. Lenny getting some revenge in the SBS as well. Billy able to salvage onto Ash, and now they're in the, troublesome spot of trying to cap this with no heals on either side. The presence all in favor of DK right now, and they're going to manage to hold this.
Yeah, I mean, that play from Blank was really great, getting into the full enemy team as a scout and taking down the medic in the middle of all of his defenders. Just gets negated by Billy getting in on his bomb, so in the end, it's a spawn timer advantage for Witness Gaming, so it's a slight ad, nothing too much to write home about. Bomb into Brian from Poseidon, looking for the sniper, gets denied by the engineer and taken down. Fish as well, so 2 players dead already on the side of Witness, and here comes Billy, a patented bomb coming in. Ashley's 1 HP, stab onto Lenny from Jacob, does a lot of work, and Billy's still in, gets Blue, reflect onto Billy Boy on the other side, means that it's going to be negated in the back. Ashley's safe for now, but low HP.
Yeah. Even with that SBS one from before from Lenny on Brian, just difficult getting any solid advantages right now. The cap time is there, so everyone walking forward in overtime is going to flip the point, but they're not able to get any kills. Tuke getting a lot of damage out against Melon, traded over, but now the spawns are in favor of D. So with Blake on 90%, we'll be even Stevens.
Jacob's going to go straight for the decloak. It's a good decloak. He's going to get the pick onto Lenny. And Billy Boy's in. Uber across the point. Billy gets taken out by the minis, so It's numbers and spawn ad for dumb kids here. They are going to regroup and get working onto that point. Jacob gets the telly, so that's going to be
It's just
you lose life
taunting
for it,
on
but
point.
yeah.
That's how convinced he is.
Yeah,
Ends up going
around
down.
first.
Not.
Triple has the flank though. Triple should be able to win this one. He gets the heavy. Melon is the big defender on point right now and taken down. Triple coming in with all the cleanup. That's what you want to see out of your scout. He does get shotgun down by Flu, but he did enough to win it. So that's going to be Dumb Kids tying us up at 1-1.
I don't know if I'm happy right now. If I'm DK watching Duke did that. That fight got a little close for a
Hey
moment
Dolphin,
there.
I want to embarrass him. Press scoreboard and show me who's the bottom scorer on Dumb Kids right now. And then tell me who was taunting at the point to almost lose a round. Yeah.
Interesting.
He deserves a call out for that. We are in
Yeah,
round
like, oh,
3
we're
though.
winning this round, not because of anything you did, buddy. We'll...
Look at this.
But-
Poseidon is just straight
Yeah.
in and dead instantly. Billy Boy countering the bomb. Brian stabbed though. Jacob gonna get one into Eerie and 2 going down. A lot of people dying quick on this mid. Here comes Billy Boy again, which actually takes down that med. The help of Fuzzy. Another reflex pipe.
What's happening?
Yeah, I mean, Fuzzy's just having a ton of fun at this game, but at the end of the day, Witness do keep more players alive, so they get the cap on mid at the cost of their medic. So Dumb Kids gonna be looking to repush with this one when they get all their players back.
Yeah, I mean that's a really big salvage play to take what would be an otherwise pretty hard losing mid and turn it into, you know, a lost mid, but the Uber ad means you're still expected to probably come out ahead in the long term, assuming you're able to convert on this push. Some traps put up, we'll see if they find anyone. Doesn't look like it as everyone's moving through Valley. Fish deep in on Cliff, gonna be coming in eventually, but Uber's popped out already.
That's a really good chase.
Jacob goes down, but
It's so
Crump,
good there to get in deep with the stickies and just nuke Ashley.
The control point is being captured.
yeah, really big there, just caught out entirely. It feels like one of the first ad
Big
Ubers
classes though.
we've seen, but yeah, they're gonna find Brian, they're gonna find Duke, and so long as just sitting on rock, Lenny forcing so much, you know, aggression to be sunk into him before they're finally able to cap, doesn't even end up dying either. No, never mind, he burns out.
He goes down at the end, yeah, but it is gonna be cap up first of the round for Dumb Kids here, getting on the scoreboard. They have about a 30% Uber ad to work with, which pretty decent. Jacob caught out in downtime, not gonna be looking good for him. In the meantime, Witness Gaming trying to get up, but Brian, a well-timed pick onto Kira, gonna help stall that progression. Billy's in, gets a headshot and a minigun to the face, taken down, and there's Poseidon on the other side getting Fuzzy and Brian. So big plays from the Witness soldier getting on the board, trying to do some good work, and Flu taken down by Two doubles up. You might want to repush for your Dumb Kids here now that you have the spawn lead. Blake built his advantage about 5% more, so he is gonna be ready to pop that Uber the second they want to go through what looks like Valley.
Yeah, she needs to make sure she's able to back out here. And
It's just a solo on a Crump.
redirected onto concrete, finds Lenny. The kill maybe he was looking for over the medic right there, but actually coming up on Uber right away,
comes.
gonna use back in. Cap hasn't been converted yet.
Two
gonna be
floated
left as a sacrifice, but in comes the flank on to Blake. He stands no chance left all alone. No protection for the DK Met. Bit of a lapse of judgment right there, but Brian, standing tall on China, finds Melon, forcing the players of Witness Gaming back. The cap went over, but it's not going to stay red for long.
Billy finds Ashley on the back out onto concrete, so that's a huge pick, negating that Uber decided with Jacob picking up Lenny. There is going to be time for Dumb Kids to regroup, heal up, and get posted up. They are about a minute on time deficit, but they can make that up here with this Uber ad. You just don't want to see them bleed players. In the meantime, Witness Gaming, this is probably a way where you just try to drive pressure. You know Blake doesn't have yet, so see if you can work those pick classes. Lenny's been doing great this far, so far in this game, so definitely get you an opener here from Cliff. He's going to go China.
Yep, Pete coming out soon. Not going to find anyone, only the engineer. And Brian winning the SDS from Rock. But Kira finds Blake just out of nowhere. Going to be Crump and Brian falling down next.
Jacob
No
is doing so
beam.
much damage to Ashley. Ashley's 1 HP, but the mini sentry helps defend, and
Oh,
Eerie
that
doing
cleave
big
almost
work
hit.
on the cleanup. Yeah, that one was very close to the end of it, but Witness Gaming keep all of their players alive, really, and that was a really great drive pressure coming out from them.
Yeah, a bit of a lapse from Blake right there. We've seen him get caught in on a lot of these oops. And then just dying to spam right there, a little bit uncharacteristic. I mean, you know, this game's been pretty much dead even. I'd say slightly Witness favored, and this is DK's map. Uber's now popped out, coming on Cliff. Fish trying to body block Fuzzy to get the pyro kill, won't even end up finding him. They're gonna lose a couple of bodies here though, overextending, and those are some long spawns compared to what Witness, DK, excuse me, have to go through. So really, you know, buying some time with that Uber, not too much else, and they may have opened the door for a repush.
Yeah, that said, Yuri's going to be up in 2 seconds, has a teleporter, and Blank going to be to that fight fast as the scout. So, going to be a 9v9 on the point here. Neither Met having Uber, but Blake has built a decent advantage. There's going to be Billy jumping immediately onto concrete, Poseidon trying to mirror him onto cliff, but Tuke is just dead instantly. That heavy out of the fight now. Billy's dead as well, chased down, and all of a sudden you're down a lot of players if you are Dumb Kids. Carson dead as well. You're only 6 alive and your health looks not very good, but there's some good kills. Brian and Jacob pick classes, getting down with Sniper, and now you can just push for free.
Yeah, Picklass is really saving the fight. Jacob coming in to get Yuri as well. That's a dom just for the added humiliation right now. So what looked like may have been a winning fight for Witness, Picklass is on DK, able to flip that script. Time, however, is still largely in favor of Witness. Ubers are about to be even, so an exchange should be coming shortly.
Yeah, Witness Gaming looking to close out the half with this one here. We're going to need to see Dumb Kids do some really good exchanging here, because honestly, I'd say that in like the neutral exchanges, Witness Gaming have been coming out above most often. Early Uber coming through, solo into Kira, matched by Crump. Fish taken down in downtime, so small man had actually bumped up. Gonna have to just kite out. Taken very low, but we'll get up to pack. But Jacob's lurking, and Crump gets a headshot. That's going to be really big for Kira to be able to walk forward. Billy Boy nuked on his bomb, and all of a sudden, Dumb Kids, they're just bleeding in post again.
Jacob caught out, but will surf that rocket while Invisible stays alive.
With no demo, they can't deny. They have to leave. They're going to get shredded here.
Yeah, Lenny winning out the
look
Brian's got to be the nail in the coffin.
Yeah, Yuri gets 2 out of connector. No one can deny him. Jacob dead as well. Flu coming in through that connector, and yeah, just too many players lost.
Blake, why is Blake still in?
What was the play there? I feel like it's lost anyway. They lost way too much.
I was looking at the time. Yeah, that's a good point.
It's lost anyway. And yeah, I mean, in the neutral Uber v Uber, Witness Gaming have looked far superior.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say in any Ubers, they've managed to catch Blake out a number of times. Ashley's been caught too, but tends to be a little bit more Witness favored anytime you're looking at Ubers. It's the dry fight side to me that feel like where DK is winning out. But, you know, Witness on their way to making us look silly for doubting their map picks, as they're up 2-1 right here on DK's map pick, with the Vigil, you know, kind of lurking in the wings.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just looking at the scoreboard, and we see Lenny's over there at 57 points. Brian near bottom of his team, 16 and 17 on Sniper. He's second top, I guess third top death, one below Jacob. Meanwhile, Lenny, 22 and 13, just getting to have a lot more fun on product like a Sniper does. Crump as well, 8 and 10, not having nearly as impactful of a game as Kira is, so... I mean, even though Dumb Kids have a few pieces that are doing their jobs, like I'd say Triple and Billy Boy are doing their jobs, it just feels like Witness Gaming are winning out across the board.
You want to tell me who's got the best KD in the server right now?
Flu Walrus?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm going to be honest. Half of those kills are his mini-sentry killing Billy Boy, probably.
He has, of his 22 kills, 17 of them are Soldier and Spy.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me.
Yeah,
The funny part is his damage is basically even with Carson's.
yeah, just able to secure a lot of those. I mean, staying alive is going to be big, right? You know, just constantly providing that pressure. I think making sure that, you know, Jacob and Fish went even as is, and that's with Flu basically never dying, having less deaths than Ashley, so putting out a lot of pressure on Jacob to keep him, in line. Actually, both teams had players with less deaths than their mid. Triple dying less than Blake as well. I feel like we probably didn't say Triple's name enough for what his stat line is.
I mean, that's just a Scout classic, right? Like, it's not flashy, it's not, you know, jaw-dropping. Like, you notice when he kills everything in post to win the round, like at the end of that second round. That's when we called him out for, you know, doing really good on that fight. But, like, Triple's just always been a very solid Scout, and he's never, like, the reason why his team is losing this. Honestly, like, for Dumb Kids, you really have to get Brian online. Brian is too good of a sniper to be like being put down like this. He's negative overall, and a negative sniper overall in product, it makes it so much harder to win when the enemy team has Lenny just killing you anytime you peek your head out. So I don't know if they have to defend him more from spies or like find him like, different rotation angles, but he's just not having the games they need.
Yeah, I mean, it looked like he was going to be activating a little bit in that second round, but not really much to beat. Able to get them the one round, but overall it has been Lenny really dominating for most of the game. Just trying to look at what the frags are. Yeah, slightly in favor of Witness, about what you'd expect. Uber's 2 up on them as well, which could be big in the long run. I am surprised.
Because Blake had 2 high percentage deaths.
Yeah, that'll do it. I mean, and you could argue one of those were in each of the rounds that they lost. So it would be interesting to see how that goes if he's able to get those Ubers off. But, you know, he did not. So all the credit to Witness for able to find that.
It's kind of funny. We saw Fuzzy have a couple really big reflect moments. Melon ended up out damaging him. So that's just the solid scorch shot damage kind of ticking in. It's not huge, but Melon had a solid game, I'd say, overall. Considering that Billy Boy is in your face 24/7, right? Sometimes he's just gonna get rockets off. Like, you're not gonna be able to perfectly reflect every single bomb of his. And I feel like you said, they adapted to Billy's bombs as the first half went on, and it felt like he got less and less value.
And then later on, too, they were waiting for Melon to go down, and then Billy comes in, and that's when he's able to get the, you know, real good damage off on to Ash. Poseidon's 9 and 21, it really, to me, feels like logs don't say space made.
Yeah, it was modest, but he had a couple good, like, well-timed bombs that made space. He got a couple good picks onto Brian that let Lenny just peek with impunity. And overall, Witness just played a very good product game. And keep in mind, this is Dumb Kid's map pick here. Going up 2-1 on it means that they are only 2 rounds away from taking away that the 1 seed's map pick, and then going on to Vigil on match point.
Yeah, Here's the thing, right, Zag? When I really think about it, is that the map that you ban, maybe there's some kind of like 9D chess going on right now. The map that you ban should be the map that you're expecting the other team is going to first pick.
Or it's just the map you never practice. Permaban like Steel.
Somewhat, but I mean, in that sense, right? If I don't practice Steel, but I know that the other team doesn't play it either and isn't particularly confident on it, I don't think it's a map you should ban. I think you either save that for a second ban or let it go unpicked. I cannot see a world where TK's first picking Swiftwater.
I guess that's true. Yeah, I definitely think that's true. I think that DK would always go product, honestly.
If you ban product, right? You're telling me that they're gonna pick Swiftwater over Asheville first?
Yeah, no, they're picking Asheville.
I mean, results-based analysis, right? I mean, maybe there's logic going on. If anyone on DK watching the VOD can confirm that you guys would have picked Swiftwater first had it not been banned, let me know and I'll publicly apologize for that. But until that happens, I'm not going to believe it.
Yeah, and I mean, at the end of the day, right, Witness looked good on product, and to be fair, right, even though they lost the regular season match 4-2, that's the kind of match where it's whoever shows up when these two teams are like as good as they are and as experienced as they are on product of all maps. That's a map where if you show up on the day, you can win it. When Dumb Kid's going 4-2 in the regular season tells me is that they have the potential to win on product through like whatever means they feel like their team is good at. And so they feel confidence on it, which is fine. You can feel confidence on a map like product. That said, at the end of the day, if you're not overwhelmingly DM gapping the other team, it's not like you win instantly just because like you typically are the better product team. Things can happen on product where a player's just having a really good game or someone on your team is just having a really bad game. And right now we're seeing Lenny rise to the top of the scoreboard while Brian is kind of sinking towards the bottom. That's the kind of thing where it can flip too, where we could see in the next half Brian turns it up and then we go to the golden cap round. So anything can really happen on product. And that's what you sign up for when this is your map pick. You sign up for that, where you're willing to duke it out on this DM mess of a map, and then you feel like you'll come out on top more often than not. So that's what Dumb Kids have signed up for, and right now it's not working out. So we'll see if they can kind of get that coin on their side in the second half, because otherwise we're going to Vigil, and that's uncharted territory, honestly.
Yep, we are ready up here, though, so potentially 2 rounds away from Witness Gaming taking the first map of the upper bracket finals right now. Teams are remaining on the... They were in the first round, coming in to mid. Crump rolling out through Valley again. A little bit more aggressive, I'd say, from Kira thus far, but...
Simon's just dead instantly. And Eerie gets stabbed too, so Crump just free, but Crump getting a headshot. And Blake dead too. The pick class is just rolling for the side of Witness right now. Fuzzy taken down by Kira at the end. Billy looking for a bomb, but he's all alone. And yeah, that looked like a good start where they had maybe had a demo or a soldier and a heavy pick, but at the end of the day, Dumb Kids just lose too many players and they lose the mid and their medic.
Yeah, I realized I had my like so a little bit behind the scenes, right? Well, Zach and I usually fly around in third person, but you still have to be on someone's cam, and that's the person whose name you don't get wall hacks on. I realized I was on that for one of the demos, so while I'm switching pods over to a less important class, I end up seeing everyone die at the same time, and now the Ubers are coming out, getting deep, chasing on to
Blake's
grass.
one.
Blake got a sliver in hell.
Great denial at the end there. They lose 4, but keeping your medic alive is well worth it at the end of the day. Blake needs that pack. He's still 18, finally gets that pack. And now the rest of the team coming forward. Triple and Crump are here, so with these power classes, they're going to try to kill this mini and get the cap going. And it looks like they'll be successful. So Dumb Kid's doing a pretty good job to stave off that push, and now they get their first cap of the round.
That is, I mean, I think regardless of whether or not they kill Blake there, they probably still lose the point, right? If you sack everyone to get the med, you still lose ultimately. But Jacob
Blake
going for an aggro decloak, gets his kill stolen by Brian. Fish gonna find the backstab, but otherwise all the kills going in favor of DK right now. The cap continues to remain in DK's hands.
Yeah, Witness got the pop out of Blake though, so they are happy with that one even if they lost players. You gotta be careful though. Billy's in the back looking for Lenny, misses the rocket and gets taken down. So Jacob will find a pretty good pick onto Eerie and Kira doubling up. Big plays out of Jacob, but a couple players dropping for the side of DK, and now they don't really have any power classes left. It's just kind of Crump and Fuzzy left. Took gets a great kill onto Poseidon and lives. That's a big one.
Yeah, if he was gonna go down, that could have opened up a lot of ground. You know, right in the post-fight for Bombers are starting to come in. Fish getting some free cap time while he's on the DR. Good spy sense by Fuzzy, melts the knife afterwards.
The Uber, but it's just denied. I think that jump was stuffed by a good timed airblast out of Fuzzy, and that Uber gets absolutely nothing. Oh, I guess they get the cap, but now have to back up. Blake on 80%. Billy's just in like a missile once more. Doing some damage, decent damage, but he's in behind still. Poseidon goes down. Billy and Jacob end up getting traded, so man for Witness, but position held by Dumb Kid, and they are looking to get this cap back.
Yeah, they're gonna get it too without Blake having to use this Uber. Lots of low health bars though. They're going to not actually have any bodies
Triple
go down.
Can clean up a lot here.
Uber.
Triple's trying to chase down onto concrete. We'll get Melon, but can't chase down the heavy. And yeah, Ashley long gone. So I mean, decent attempt out of Dumb Kids, but just not able to find and track that medic.
I really don't think that Uber from Ashley needed to be used there. Even if the jump doesn't get stuffed, you're not killing Blake with that. And Eerie just caught slacking on grass. Gonna get rushed down by Duke and Triple. Brian coming alive in the SVS as well on to Led. They're looking to tie this score up, shorten the best of 7 down to a best of 3. Jacob hiding up on the sheet metal on Cliff, just calling that no one is forward. You know, not of any particular aggression coming out of DK, but they're happy to wait. Fish hiding in the
Ashley
house.
Yeah, Ashley has a 20% ad. Fish probably called it. He sees the medic, he's going for knife melt, the demo coming in, and they nuke Blake at about 80%, so really well-timed play coming out of Witness Gaming, and if you're Dumb Kids, though, you have to know that that can come. And the fact that Blake was in the spot in front of house where you have no exit is a really big gap.
It might not matter, though. The players staying alive are so aggressive from DK. Yeah, Took staying alive, Triple staying alive. They overextended in the name of killing Blake, and they pay for it with their lives. All of those Uber classes go down right off the bat. No one's there to contest the heavy and the scalp. They're able to clean up quite nicely, and DK in the driver's seat.
Yeah, you cannot ignore the crouching hidden heavy just with that silent Tomislav comes through. Kills 3, kills Eerie now on a 10k is Took. Billy gets his rocket reflected, but Took is still going. Kira gets a backstab out from Jacob, and with Fuzzy taking on Poseidon, we're at about even numbers. It's small man ad for Witness Gaming, and they have 20% Uber ad, but they're just going to look to get onto the point. It's 2 minutes in deficit, so Dumb Kids should be perfectly fine with backing out here. They do get a snipe onto Melon, so Crump going to look to stay in. No one can reflect his pipes anymore, but they will look to regroup now. Crump on half HP, has to be very careful here. Bleeding will get healed for now.
Yeah, you're going to need to see a 2-minute-to-0 hold here from the side of Witness if they want to go up on to map point right. They will have the slight Uber ad, so nothing for Blake to really take advantage of. But the big classes, Kira and Blank going down. Uber's popped out onto Not but a Pyro and Engineer. Lenny gets the kill onto Took. They're going to need a couple more headshots out of him as now the Uber comes out from Blake. Brian goes down, but the numbers on Witness are falling one after another.
Look at Flu. Flu's actually doing a lot of work with this Wrangler. The question is, can anyone help him? Here with Poseidon, gets Crump. That's a big pick to get. And look at this, Flu's still doing a last man stand. Gonna get taken down finally, and they're not gonna be able to get back onto the point. So, I mean, valiant attempts, but at the end of the day, Dumb Kids win that round and tie us up at 2 apiece.
Yep. I mean, Brian definitely better than I think what we've been seeing. Not particularly dominant either. Lots of points coming out of Took and Jacob, who we
Yeah, I mean,
you know,
Tuke was
saw
MVP for that round.
easily. Yeah, that 10K coming up big right there. Just always staying alive, knowing exactly when to walk through on concrete. As we move now into the next mid, Lenny up fast onto China. Very aggressive across concrete, and Billy Duke's actually up the map, but all the other kills in favor of Witness Gaming. Going to just clean them up one after another.
Yeah,
Blake staying alive, only has a scout and a sniper to his name. So mid going over in favor of Witness, but losing their meds going to Sting.
That really was the classic sack 8 players for Medic. I literally watched Crump WM1 onto concrete and just get shredded in the back by the heavy we just chose to ignore. So, I mean, that's technically a game plan, right? You could just sack 8 the Medic and play with Uberad. I don't know if that's their intention, but I guess they really did just want to walk forward on Ashley that round. Here's their prize. Blake has full Uberad, so we're going to see what they do with it.
Yep, fish caught out early, so no stabs to worry about. Popped out. Not a lot of aggression, though. They're going to walk forward. They get the space. They don't get the frags right now, other than the spy they picked up in the beginning. And Lenny onto Crump, opening up a potential re-aggression right here. Billy Boy coming in with a bomb. Gonna have to fade back on point, but Poseidon now finding Took. It's going to be only a very brief cap for DK as Witness successfully repost that Uber and recap quite quickly afterwards.
Yeah, these fights are going very fast, that's to say the least, and neither team really managing to hold the point for too long yet, but now Witness Gaming with 50% Uber ad, looking to get some real time chipped off that clock. So the rest of the combo for Dumb Kid's going to be looking to walk up Valley. Jacob crossing over. Here comes Billy, the missile sack once again. Takes Ashley low and forces the Uber. Here comes Jacob. Lenny going to get sniped by Brian and doubles up onto Poseidon. So good kills coming out of the sniper. Another one onto Eerie, and that Uber ends, and they're down 4 players, Witness. So if you're Dumb Kids here, you're pushing the second you get spawners.
Yeah, exactly. You know, about as good of a sack as you can hope for. Get the Uber and still go even on the frags. So, gonna be looking to back out with this. The telly is up for Flu right now, but all the numbers just gonna be in way faster on the side of DK. Even Took waddling onto grass will make it to point. Eventually, they open up the mini. That should open up cap time. But Poseidon going in.
I think they can find Ashley, but Ashley's already out into main. And the kills aren't really coming either. They only pick up Lenny, which I guess is a good one, but lose Carson in the meantime, 8v8. Poseidon taken down as well, so decent. But the fact is that we've been maintaining this Uber leapfrog throughout the game, and if it keeps going like this, it is Witness Gaming favor because they got the first cap. So if you're Dumb Kids, you have to find Ashley at some point here.
Yeah, as you mentioned, leapfrog very heavily in the Witness Gaming favor right now. They're just about to come up on Uber themselves. And, you know, as long as we don't see any med deaths to interrupt it, yep, here they go, walking in. Blake is pretty far out right now. I don't think any danger of him going down. They will find Fuzzy, but the cap time is going to be what's important here. Blake only on 65 right now. Hero going down. It's going to be big, though. Billy coming in hot.
Jacob gets one,
Not
Jacob
gonna
gets
find
2.
anything.
Lenny, Eerie, 2 huge backstabs. Connector is clear, and there comes Billy taking out Blank. Melon goes down as well. Ashley still have to spawn on 40 HP, but Dumb Kids not taking too much time for this repush, and they keep Uber. So this is the time that the leapfrog actually gets broken when a dry push ends up working.
Exactly, yeah. They're not going to need the Uber to use that. Now they have point and add. Snipers set up about as good as you could hope right now for DK. They got a minute to make up on the clock, so they're going to need to lock this down for the time being. They've already tied up the round score. Just going to, you know, overall 2-2. You're going to need to tie up the clock score at the moment. But here getting forward, going to try this dry push, sniping stickies on to that mini on China. But Brian onto Lenny, Jacob onto Fury. The kills are already started from starting the dominoes.
Yeah,
and
they're trying to get onto Ashley. Ashley's already out. It's 80%
the Uber,
this
though.
time. Yeah, Uber comes out of Dumb Kids there trying to get forward. They don't end up finding Ashley, so now 100% Uber ad for Witness Gaming. Clock about to be even here. So Dumb Kids have position, but they don't have Uber. It's a pretty even round, all things considered, and now we'll see what Witness Gaming can do with this. Jacob is in the spawn door, so he's going to be able to call the rotation instantly, see who goes where. Gonna die for the mini sap, I guess. Unfortunate, probably ran out of
Maybe
cloak.
just was trying to get comms, ran out of cloak, yeah. Not my favorite play, but, you know, sometimes that's how things...
Brian
how
has
the
an
cookie
off angle
crumbles
on a cliff here. Takes a shot at Eerie, doesn't hit it, so they're going to be aware of his location, trying to rotate China. And it looks like Blake is already just out. They already know that Witness have Uber ads, so not even going to stay in close and risk losing your med. So Witness Gaming going to get a pretty free recap here. Uber going to get popped out, trying to hunt down Blake, but like I said, Blake already too far back, so Uber for point, not the worst trade ever, and they get a couple kills.
Not the worst trade, but you really like to have seen them hold it, because now the Uber coming right back in from Blake. They get Melon, likely going to be the only kill, otherwise doing a good job.
No, he gets a good
Surfing
arrow,
back.
actually. Here goes Billy, but doesn't find any real meaningful damage. Blake, great surf out onto Japan to keep his life. Fish hunting, but ooh, maybe we'll find it. No, gets taken down, and in the commotion, Dumpkin's got the point back, so taking in timely right now. Need a med with Uber, but spawn ad for Witness.
Yeah, they're able to consistently pick up these kills on the side. Carson, though, finding Eerie could open up a big hole in the flank, but it's being held down by Blue. Finds the NGV kill onto Carson, and point now locked down by DK. The Ubers are in favor of Ashley as well. Big revenge from Lenny onto Brian means they're going to be able to play wide, get set up nice and comfy on this point for what will likely be the final Uber. Blake at 65 or so should be able to get it in time.
Huge
but,
kill onto
yeah.
Crump there, taken down right when they need him. Dumb Kids now only have 75%, so probably just going to wait for Crump to spawn and get that Uber. They can't really build right now. No one's really taking crit heals. Triple doesn't have a basher either, so it is just going to come down to this last Uber exchange. Jacob has eyes on Sniper here, so going to be calling out Lenny's exact position, but that man is just so threatening. Here comes the Uber from Triple, immediate counter force with Ashley. The kills and post are all that matters, but Crump is so low. He's get healed, and Jacob just dead instantly. Crump will get the end flash, but here comes the counter Uber.
I think the soldiers just kissed in midair, but it's going to end up decided. Finally finishing off Crump. Triple gets the cleaver kill, but all the other kills going in favor of Witness. They're winning their ones. They're winning the point. They're putting themselves on to that point here on Product, taking that 3-2 advantage. They could win it right here.
That round was the most like 20xx Highlander edition I've ever seen. That was like Uber leapfrog constant, you know, no one trying, like that was everyone trying as possible, as hard as they could to not make blatant mistakes. And at the end, they Witness just win the leapfrog war out and get a good fight at the end. And now, like you said, they're on match point. Dumb Kid's got to do something now, otherwise their map pick is gone.
Yeah, that puts them in a very scary spot going forward right now. Kira's going to find the sticky snap onto Brian. Aggro is going to come out shortly once they deal with Billy Boy, but he finds Lenny as well. So no snipers on this mid. Yuri going down, could open up a big hole on flank. Watch for Tuke to come in late here, but he's getting swarmed and taken out. They're going to find Fuzzy as well. Couple of DK players huddled up in pocket, but they're losing the presence.
Flu. Yeah, Flu's in the back actually takes down. Ooh, doesn't get Crump. Crump barely lives. That's going to be... Even though that they lost the point, they kept enough players alive and they kept their Uber up, so Dumb Kid's looking to go right back in.
No Med's dead. Is that a first?
I think so, yeah.
Yep, and there you go, those Uber exchanges coming out, popped right at the same time. Probably a little bit slightly better Uber for Blue, given the flashes
Triple's
on
hard
the red
for
side.
Lenny and dies. That's not a good death for Triple to take, and now they don't have him in post. Blank, meanwhile, is alive and thriving in that kill, and now Billy Boy in the back. Crump gets another headshot. It's not pushable if you are Dumb Kids, or is it? They get Lenny, they get Kira. Big kill out of Juke to get that controller on Connector, and there's Brian taking out Ashley. That one is big. Triple back from the teleporter, now looking to get some cleanup kills. Eerie taken down. Brian has a couple big kills in this fight to give his team the win.
Yeah, it looked like things were going in favor of Witness, but Brian able to just slowly turn things around. Billy Boy as well coming in, getting a really big kill onto Lenny to open things up for him. You know, Ashley staying in main at low HP.
Look at Eerie. He is hard committing to that and gets taken down, although you will get a kill into Triple with the help of Kira. That's a pretty decent trade, honestly. And
but Billy Boy in onto Ashley alone has the juke, stays alive at only a sliver of health. Jacob beelining in for her location. Gonna try to get that last revolver shot, but caught out. Yuri catches him in-house. So Ashley stays alive for now. Ubers as well in favor of Blake quite heavily. So bit of an awkward percent. You don't entirely want to sack right now, but
they're just gonna dry. They've been decent at drawing, and they're gonna walk up here with Demo and Scout on right side point across Connector, and Eerie eats a headshot. That's a really well-timed pick from Brian. Uber going through Connector of all places, trying to find some kills, but Witness Gaming kiting it out very well. Only losing your heavy to an Uber is very good. And now Ashley up on 100% ads, so Witness Gaming will to regroup, get buffs, and get going.
Yeah, you're pretty happy if, you know, you get to sacrifice your heavy up to the Uber gods and no one else. But Billy Boy and Crump gonna go down right away. Big damage coming in. Jacob coming in right as the Uber goes out. That Uber from Red didn't get too much, but ultimately not.
With this really aggressive tank on concrete,
yeah.
Duke doesn't expect it. He's going to get caught out and taken down. Blake has to be careful here. If they collapse him from both sides, look at Blue. One shot. Blue looking for the cleanup, and he gets it. You have to get that engineer kill when he walks at your
Triple
medic.
on the backside finds the kill onto Ashley, and they kind of do the whole sack everyone for the med, including their own med this time. and it's going to end up going in favor of DK. Time just about equalized, but DK in the lead and gaining.
Yeah, and importantly, Blake had the fast spawn, so he is up, already charging. That's a 20% ad built on Ashley, and time in the time lead as well, so what should have been a really good angle for Witness to kind of wrestle control back, they just completely fall flat, and now Dumb Kids have the match, or have the round in their hands.
Yeah, if they win this, it would send us to a halftime as we're tied 3-3, their second one of the half. Fish waiting in, potentially go for a flank, completely caught out by Duke. He's going to go down, no real trouble, but opened up some space for Eerie. Got presence, but will go down. Not enough support. Some cap time coming through, but
Big
none of
blank.
the frags.
And
And
they're
Jacob collapsing in, finds the med. Rest of the team gonna wipe out the rest of the bodies. And we're looking like it's a golden cap time, Zach.
Yeah, I mean, Dumb Kids do a great job denying the aggression. They got some picks. Pretty much everyone chimed in there, getting some kills or some damage down. Let them keep pretty much everyone alive. But look, this Fish gets a really good stab onto Crump, and that's an 18-second spawn timer. So when those stickies, Dumb Kid's going to have to back up. They don't want to hold here. Problem is, full Uber ad right now for Blake and Co. Witness Gaming have to overcome this. They have 30 seconds. Looks like they're going to go sack a couple players, but Uber just popped out immediately, and they're going to look to find as many kills as they can, but it's probably just going to be this heavy. Yeah, the only Eerie taken down. They get Poseidon as well.
A triple con in as well. That's going to be really big.
Oh.
Lenny on the plate catches him backing out. No safe spot for the medic right now on DK as he goes down. Brian trying to take a long angle
maybe
for
try to
Kane,
force
but it's not going to
overtime.
be enough.
I want them to try to force overtime here. That's what they do. They're going to sack in, try to get onto Ashley. Ashley's taken low. 4 seconds left on the clock. The rest of the players then just sacking. Brian, the last man in, not going to make it. Very slow sniper, man. So, yeah, I mean, Witness Gaming get the clock back. They get Uber ad, and they look at positioning, but it is a minute and a half left for them to defend this. It's definitely possible, but it's an uphill battle.
Yeah, Jacob, though, similar situation. Spies getting a pick onto the demo, overextended to the forward hold. But this time the Uber's coming in at the base of Cliff. They're going to get a couple of kills. Blake now caught up onto
He's
China.
fine. Poseidon doesn't see him or just doesn't think he can get the kill, so Poseidon's going to leave house. Look at this, though. Scout behind, taken down. Blank is dead. And with that, Witness Gaming are down 3 players. Tuke is in, fighting on Connector, gets Fish, but he's alive, he is dead. Poseidon getting that crucial kill. If not, if Duke gets healed up there, that one is looking very bad. And here comes Kira and Co. Melon looking to try to make space a point. Triple, looking for the med kill. It is going to be Jacob coming in. Poseidon's dead, Ashley's dead. Although look at Eerie, has a lot of good position, gets some good cleanup, but here comes the overtime, capped up by Dumb Kids. You have to get on it if you're Witness.
Oh, Brian up just doing so much work right now. Eerie, though, staying alive.
Like a Uber.
This is a good call. They're keeping the cap time, waiting for the spawn. You don't want to
Huge
flip
kill.
the spawns when your team's all dead. But yeah, Brian finding another 2. That's all 4 kills in this fight. Poseidon
They're
in over the
Uber
top.
again, too.
Uber pops
They're
off after the sniper, and he gets Poseidon. Just adds insult to injury for the kill streak, and that makes it 6. Lenny onto Blake, not even gonna matter, I don't think, as the cavalry
get
has
there.
arrived. Brian holding the Alamo on his own. Pulls us into a 3-3 tie.
Dude, you know when your sniper gets 2 kills on the walk-up, and then he gets bombed by a soldier, they pop Uber on the sniper, he 180 flick headshots the soldier who just bombed him. That's a highlight reel clip, and Brian taking his team to Golden Cap there. With the help of everyone else, I mean, that was a pretty good round, all things considered, from Dumb Kids. These last 2 rounds have been very, I don't say necessarily by the book, but like it's been very fundamentally sound Highlander from both teams, and Product sometimes is a map that gets out of hand where like everyone decides to just go on a feed fest. People are playing so disciplined. You can feel the tension on Product. This is like the most tense Product match I've seen in years. It feels like if one person makes a mistake, it's lost.
Everyone's expecting it to go 4-3, and then it does. Right?
Yeah.
Like, you know, I'm thinking about the other 4-3 we had this season on Brute, not expected. And like, it's great when that happens, but half of the time you're just like surprised. This time it's like, nah. This is going to go 4-3, and it's been exactly as close on these razor-thin margins as we would have thought going into it. And I mean, taking a look at the logs, Brian really coming alive right now, which is what we thought was going to happen, what he'd need to do to bring his team back into it. 26-9, 400 DPM, very solid performance. I mean, not bad performances really from anyone. I think Eerie probably had the biggest drop-off for me, outside of, you know, maybe Flu Walrus not top fragging, but I'll give Flu a pass on that one.
Yeah, he's still
but
pretty
I
high up
do
there.
think that, you know, it's starting with that 10k out of 2, right? The flank control through Connector was really much more in favor of DK throughout this entire half, and it's meant that they're just having so many better positions in post fights.
And I want to give a special shout out to Jacob because even though like the KDA looks kind of pedestrian, it's spy, that's just how it's going to look against top invite teams. His focus choices have been very good, especially in the second round, because he's realized that it's very hard for him to actually get on Lenny when he's getting constantly royal guarded by Carson and Melon. Not necessarily Carson, but like Melon, or no, excuse me, not Carson, Flu and Melon, right? Because like Flu had all the spy kills last round. He's realized that if you go and focus the flank, he's gotten so many kills on flank, it's a lot easier for Took to shine. Jacob has done a really good job identifying his actual routes in. And when you're the best spy of all time, debatably, but he's in the conversation, being able to decide what your actual focuses need to be in the match to win is so impressive to see live. And again, the KDA looks pedestrian, but the things he's doing are definitely helping his team win.
Real masterful kill spread too, I think. 4 on the demo, 4 on the heavy, 2 on the medic, 3 on the sniper. That's it. No kills on any, no garbage frag, no counter espionage kills here, no, kill stealing an engineer with a revolver, only high value targets.
Yep, and if you are Witness Gaming, I mean, you're on the ropes, but it's not your map pick. Even though this is Dumb Kid's pick, both these teams are playing like this one's life or death, and for all we know, it could be. We mentioned the product is a map where if the teams are somewhat evenly matched, it really is just whoever's having the better day can win this one. Vigil coming up next is uncharted between these two teams. I don't think the two teams have played it. They might have scrimmed it in the regular season, but I don't think we have an official between these two cores on Vigil.
Not that I can remember. It tends to get banned by one of these two groups pretty frequently in playoffs too, so surprised it made it through. Quick update on the other match. Penguin Logistics, who are the upper seed, they came in with that steal first pick, and we didn't do enough analysis on that because it's not the match we're casting. Anytime you see a steal first pick, sometimes it raises some questions of like, are you not confident of being able to beat them on any map more consistently? And we did in fact see Rib end up taking the 2-0 on steal. They're currently up 1-0 on product, so Rib putting themselves in the driver's seat to make it into the lower bracket finals, guarantee themselves that placement, and then, play the loser of whoever takes the L tonight on cast.
Yeah, I mean, that's a match that we would have loved to cast if, there wasn't upper bracket finals between our two closest 1 and 2 seeds in recent history, right? So, I mean, even though Rib were the lower seed coming into playoffs, definitely had a higher trajectory. Or, like, at least, yeah, they were trending up towards the end of the season more than Penguin. That week 1 loss on Upward, far in the rear view now. So they're looking to get themselves that 3rd place minimum and keep moving on. But for now, I mean, we're golden cap on product. This is what we were hoping for. 1-2 seed, duking it out for that grand finals upper advantage. So, I mean, it's been great so far, and we could potentially have a lot more Highlander to play tonight.
Yeah, if we're this close on the first map, I mean, maybe if could go 2-0, right? Who knows? Could be that whoever wins this pulls a 2-0 on Vigil, and we're not here nearly as long as we think. But I'm getting the sniff of a 3rd map tonight, Zeg.
Yeah, I mean, okay. Do you think it's a 3rd map because Dumb Kids are gonna clutch out their map pick and then lose Vigil, or do you think that like whoever loses this one is just gonna go Hulk mode on Vigil?
I think I'm leaning. I think I'm leaning DK taking this one out. They've clutched out enough games thus far this season, even when they've looked a little bit shaky, that I'm willing to give it to them on the Koth map. And then I think you're going to go on to Vigil and you're going to see Witness start to pull it out. And maybe it's my ego talking, but prove me right as to why they should have picked double stopwatch.
And we'll see if that's the case. Right now, we do have 18 in the server. We had a couple reconnects coming through. And I'm just waiting for the teams to ready up. And, with how crucial this last one round of product could be, teams understandably taking their time to talk it out. The mid-fight strats are going to be interesting because we've seen all manners. We've seen... I want to kind of go back and talk about the one where Dumb Kids purposefully, like, 8-man sacked. I guess it was like, realistically, a 7-man sack because one person kept charging with Blake. You 7-man sack for the med and play with Uber. They got caught on the Uber leapfrog in that round, so that they probably didn't want to do it again. But that's just interesting because if you are Witness Gaming and you realize that you're playing better on like the standard situations, do you just play a slower mid? Like, do you not play as aggressive? Because they've been playing some aggressive mids and it has been working out decently well.
I think that, to me, the key to Witness Gaming winning any mids here is just that a lot of the wins they mid is Fish getting early picks. And reverse engineering that, right? If I'm DK, I'm probably thinking if we don't let our heavy get stabbed right away and then lose concrete, we're probably in a pretty good spot. I mean, obviously players like Lenny can, flip the game on an instant, right? But you kind of got to assume that's going to happen. I think the passive mids are going to favor DK more and more now that Brian's engine is starting to get warmed up.
Yeah, I was going to say, passive mids typically favor the sniper who's hot, because eventually someone will step into a sight line and give the enemy team an opening. So the reason why teams play so aggressively is because if you get in the sniper's face before he takes more than one shot, at most you're losing one player, so you can still play.
Exactly, and we are going live, it looks like here. So, one last round for all the marbles here. First map of the upper bracket finals. Winner gets that crucial 1-0 map lead. And the overall winner of this match will move into grand finals. So, here we go. One last round for product. See if we get passive or aggro.
I mean, Brian already taking Blake's head off, which is huge, and Billy Boy's on the side, and so two-man lead. Jacob's in, but kind of getting forced to turn and look at him is Billy Boy. Triple as well getting taken down, and Tuke dead as well, so despite a two-man lead, Dumb Kid's playing from man deficit. Brian killed by Fish in the backline as well, so things all of a sudden all looking good. Billy will come back around and kill Kira, but there's Blake going down. Lenny finding that headshot, doubles up onto Billy Boy, and yeah, mid-fight going in Witness Gaming favor, and that was, to be fair, a slower mid from them.
Yeah, and this is probably the cleanest mid win they've had. They've won a lot of the mids, but they've lost Ashley in the process. Able to keep her up and get the kill onto Blake is going to spell really good things for them thus far. You're going to want to look to probably see, a minute and a half off the clock at least before the first cap comes in from DK. Jacob, who has crossed, getting into position as the Uber's now popped out, walking forward. Blake deep on grass. Gonna get bombed by Poseidon. He finds the sink onto triple, but not Blake, quite crucially. So they'll flush the Uber, manage to maintain the point and the frag advantage. Fish finding Brian at the post.
Brian's been killed by Fish 2 times in 30 seconds. If Fish keeps doing that, they're gonna win the round. Like, Brian needs to stay alive for more than 2 seconds here. And they do finally find Fish. Brian will have some time unobstructed by a spy, but Lenny is posted up and sniper advantage right now. Just so much more pressure coming out of Lenny.
Yep, Jacob gets his knife melted. They know he's behind, gonna be on high alert right now. As traps on main, think they're aware of them, slowly clearing them. Poseidon finding triple again, but a pretty consistent kill. Jacob going down as well. Uber popped out from the side of EK, not going to find anything. Only the buildings going down right now. Poseidon already walking back in through connect. Lenny opens up onto two. That heavy going down is going to be a lot of, prevention from people getting walked at. So it's going to force DK to go back. Hold continuing in favor of Witness. Crucial round. They've already knocked half off the clock.
Yeah, and just tracking the spy sniper, Fish got meleeed by Brian in that fight, but he did distract him, and it was long enough for Lenny to get another kill onto a heavy. So now, with a couple players dying, Lenny's gonna get a nice snipe onto Blake, and with doubling up onto Crump in the air, Lenny has taken firm grasp of this 7th round here. Witness Gaming firmly in the driver's seat. This is the most flat we've seen Dumb Kids look all map.
Yep, and just Witness Gaming, everyone activating at exactly the right time. Fish getting those big kills. Still 3 players on DK without a point. 5 of them have 1 or less this far in.
Yeah, and Jacob
Blake.
needs a headshot from Lenny. Lenny is still on a tear on a 6K. Fish gonna get taken down, so is Poseidon and Blake. So times of kills coming in favor of Dumb Kids here. They get everything they need. Ryan getting on the scoreboard, getting Ashley, getting Flu on the cleanup, and crucially, Blake has gone on to crits. So they realize they're in such a big hole, Dumb Kids, that they have to be playing this crits, trying to get these rotation kills. Do not let Ashley get an Uber up. They have to successfully defend for 3 minutes while not losing 50 seconds. So we'll see if they can do it. They have Brian up and posted. He's gotten on the board, but this first crits is going to be everything.
Fish
they do know.
just crossed.
Yeah.
He had to
Fish
call
definitely
this
saw
here.
it. Yeah. He's even going to decloak on Blake, and they don't see it. Blake is getting meleeed. One more revolver shot. Can't hit it. And they're going to get Kira as well, so that could have been an entirely big flip. And now Blake has crits, but Crump is dead, so what do you do now? They still have the point, so I guess they're fine with waiting.
Yeah,
Brian
you have the
countersnipes
crits.
Lenny, so they're fine.
Yeah, it puts you in a troublesome spot because Ashley's now at 70, so figure she's going to be happy to build this up in spawn. The crits had to have been called by now, so
Yeah, definitely.
you're not really too keen to dry into the crits. Just wait, get the Uber, pop it early. You collapse everyone in onto Blake, that crits becomes useless when you send a bunch of Ubered players at him and he's got no defense of his own.
Yeah, so it's here, Ashley's Uber. It's the Uber v Crit situation. That is the Crit's kryptonite. And we'll see what happens. Uber coming forward, immediately trying to get onto them. And I really like this out of Dumb Kids. Play back. Don't even pop the crits. Just say, waste your Uber, and then we'll go in. So now here come the crits. Is he going to get kills? It finds no one, and Blake is dead. That's a disastrous crit. He gets nothing.
Really good by Melon to reflect that first sticky. Stops a lot. The only crit damage that went off was onto the heavy. Didn't even kill him. Duke's going to be hit up one without Blake dead. All of this health is a limited pool. They'll collapse in onto Erie.
Four
but it doesn't
people
stop
alive.
them from being so low.
Yeah, I mean, there are only 4 live Dumb Kids. They held the point for now, but spawners are too late. Witness Gaming gets coming in secure. Crump's got to be careful. A bleed here is very bad. Taken to 1 HP, barely saved in time.
If Poseidon will hop out, no one dying there, but secures the point. You know, still crits right now for
Jacob's
Blake.
in. He's just going to get caught, and Billy Boy's not in to help him, so that's just a man down for free. Here comes Billy, looking to get some damage down. They find Lenny, but at what cost? They're going to lose a couple, but Brian doubles up the blank. With Melon going down, Dumb Kids have the kills they need to stay in. Flu bleeds out as well, and Fuzzy going to be getting that cleanup, and successful repush for Dumb Kids on the dry.
But look, Ashley, though, has the full Uber. Blake only 75 on the crit. They only have 22 seconds left. They knew this was happening. They decided to not risk Ashley going down. Uber popped out early. Jumping forward, is Kira gonna get the kill onto Fuzzy
Blake
early
is out,
on?
and they have Crump, they have crits. This has to get kills. They're gonna pop it. One gets Lenny. That's a good one to find, but he's dead instantly. Who can get crits? It's Carson, and it's just disastrous. It's not nearly enough. Tuke's in to try and salvage it, but the crits play has backfired heavily, and that's gonna be the nail in the coffin. Witness Gaming upset Dumb Kids on their map pick, go up 1-0 in the Upper Bracket Finals.
Yeah, Jacob gonna try to pull off a 7-man chain stab if he can right in overtime right now. Not gonna find it, and as you said, the upset coming through. I gotta question the crits call, but everything Witness did to their credit was perfect around it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't hate it in theory, right? Like, the round was going so badly for you, you felt like crits was like a way you could dig yourself out. It's just the setups were not there. It got 1 kill overall, the crits, in 2 charges.
Switching onto it was fine, I think. Staying on it after Blake died felt like a miscue to me.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, they decided they want to stay on it. I do like surprise crit swap ups on product mid round. It's just when you commit to it, it has to get something. You I don't want to say gamble, but like your game plan becomes the crits has to get kills because you don't have Uber, right? You're not getting space. You're not invincible. You don't get to just walk up, well, with no fear of getting stickied or headshot. The crits has to get kills, and at the end of the day, Crump and Co were not able to get the job done, and they're going to lose their map pick. So now Witness Gaming have match point going into Vigil.
Yeah, that's going to be really big. I want to talk a little bit more on the crits, though, because I think it's really interesting. We have the logs coming up. Brian, 9-4, not going to be enough. Jacob, evening that out with a 1-8. Both spies really getting nothing done.
I mean, Fish got them the first. Fish got them the first like minute.
That was 2 kills on Brian, and then
yeah, he got nothing afterwards. I mean, he still stayed on Brian the entire game even if he didn't get kills. So like, it looks bad, but Fish did his job. They probably told him to just focus Brian.
One nugget I found really interesting there is that, TF, like, Highlander player instinct, right, is once you start getting into the higher divs, is you stay away from an Uber when you're not in it, right? And naturally, that's the smart move because you don't want to have to get a flash. You don't want to be taking kind of, auxiliary spam damage. But all of those crits that DK popped off, crits is the opposite. Crits, the entire thing that the team you're critsing into wants to do is blitz your medic because there's no defense on your med unlike an Uber. Fuzzy was nowhere to be found during that. It was so easy for them to kill Blake because, I think that the Highlander instincts were there. Right? No one's playing around the Uber because they're treating it like it's an Uber charge, when realistically, you should be having more people swarming around Blake so that he can't get rushed like that. If you have a Pyro in on those crits, I mean, do I think it works still? Probably not, but it's not as, like, disastrously 1 or 2 stickies out and you're done.
If your crits is going to get 2 stickies and then your med explodes, it's not worth being on crits.
Yeah. But I think we had some good points there. Ultimately, two teams of this caliber, sometimes it's going to come down to whoever shows up on the night. And I think Witness really locked in that last round, did exactly what they needed to, even with them not letting Brian get comfortable. He still gets 9 kills, but they're not coming at times where they're enough to really flip the script on the round, and they find themselves up 1-0 here, moving into their map pick with the path to Grands in sight.
It's so funny that Flu is 43 and 17. He's out fragging everyone on the enemy team except for Brian. While also being only 2 deaths more than his medic. I mean, we talk about how like bottom deathing engineers sometimes are just like baiters who you want to call out, but like at a certain point, when Billy Boy is playing nuclear missile soldier, right, and everyone's walking on concrete aggressively, just being able to stay alive and constantly get the cleanup and constantly like apply pressure is valuable. And Fu Walrus is having a very good night tonight.
Also, you call out baiting engineers when you're losing. Witness Gaming did not lose. He also does have more deaths than Ashley now, which is kind of the main one. It's like if your NG's dying less than your med, a little bit of a give him a little bit of a side eye. Like, are you really dying when you need to be? But I think all's well that ends well for them. Big. I mean, I don't particularly think that in terms of the process, Kira was significantly ahead of Crump. But it's interesting how much the stats are in Kira's favor.
Yeah, I mean, I really feel like Witness Gaming was just better in neutral situations, and whenever Demo Man gets like more time to pump out stickies, he does better. It feels like a lot of Dumb Kids wins where like, snap instant engages where they just like end up killing 3 people at once, walk forward, kill another 3 people. And in those situations, Crump is doing damage, but he's not really getting kills because his entire team is in. When Witness is playing slower, it feels like Kira has more time to just kind of like position properly, get well-placed stickies, and get kills. So like Dumb Kids playing explosive probably has something to do with that. Big shout out to Blank, had a quietly amazing game. We said triples him a couple times, and I don't think we ever really call out Blank. Again, that's the Scout special, where they're staying alive, they're pumping out the damage, nearly 400 DPM, and they're getting all the cleanup you need. Top fragging the server, tied with Brian on the other side. Blank has had a phenomenal game.
Yeah, I want to go back to the demos real quick, because I think that, if there's one thing we've learned from casting Exile, it's that, when your demo man is prone to exploding early in fight, it spells really bad things for your team. And Crump, to me, was uncharacteristically getting caught out early in a lot of fights. That I think, Kira's saying, part of the reason why Kira has all those extra kills, if not the deaths, or, the damage, is just because Kira's staying alive. To an extent, I think it's good focus fire from the side of Witness Gaming, but having seen Crump play enough over the past few seasons, it definitely felt out of character that he was dying so early, so often.
I mean, I feel like you should look at the stats and check each demo's deaths to Sniper, because if I had to guess, Crump had probably 3 times as many deaths to Sniper as Kira did.
I can look to pull that up, but I don't even think it was Sniper a lot of the time. Sometimes it was like Scout, sometimes it was Demo, sometimes it was Heavy, just like didn't feel right entirely, but we have the combined Crump 27 deaths, 8 to Sniper, Kira. Well, they both Crump 8 Sniper, 2 Spy, Kira 5 Sniper, 5 Spy.
More Spy kills. I mean, Jacob did a very good job at focusing him, so.
Jacob was focusing Kira, yeah, but
yeah.
Crump, having to deal more with the Sniper, but definitely just not opportune. Not that dying's ever opportune, but if your team's getting wiped and you die 5th or 6th to the demo man,
the kills
whatever.
The timing is what matters. We're like, I feel like a lot of Jacob's kills onto Kira were revolver kills in the fights. I don't remember Kira ever being like first dead on a backstab. It's kind of hard for Spy to get a first stab pick on a demo because demo's playing furthest forward, right? Normally.
It's funny. There was the one time I can remember was a mirror of from the same thing to Crump where they were forward holding. Demo got really aggressive on their own. And the Spy just decloaked in their shadow and stabbed them like way ahead of the rest of the team. But outside of that, that's the only stab I can really remember. Maybe might have been another one in Maine at some point to kind of kick off a push. But yeah, agreed. In general, it was. I think a lot of those Spy kills were revolver kills. Which I wish you could almost in logs in the kill spread split like Spy revolver kills and Spy knife kills. Because the Spy revolver kills are almost always going to be cleanup kills, and to me, you kind of got to weight those a little bit less.
because ultimately you're playing Invisible Scout, you're cleaning up on someone else's damage. Not that the kill's not good, but stabbing a demo in a 9v9 is much more valuable than gunning him down, in an 8v5 you're already winning.
Yeah, and if anything, like the big thing that like logs need to do, and I say logs need to do, it's more so just like this is the important stat that like players need to focus on is just like opening kills and opening deaths. And if a demo man is taking opening deaths, it's always worse. Like that's one of the worst opening deaths you can have because demo man is your space holder, he's your zoner, he's your like damage engine for your team. So if a demo man is first dying, the fight win percentage is probably just much lower for you. So I mean, regardless, that's product. At the end of the day, Witness get the 4-3 upset on Dumb Kid's pick, and we're going to Vigil. Players loading into the server, and this I mentioned before. I don't recall seeing these two cores ever fight on this map in a high stakes match before. This would be, in my memory, the first one, and it's a bit uncharted territory in that regard. But Vigil definitely a map that everyone knows well at this point, and it's the map that Witness Gaming decided that if things did go south on product, this is what they'd stake the match on. So they probably have some good idea of what's going to happen going forward. Does Dumb Kids have a response?
Yeah, before we get right into Vigil, I do want to give a quick update. Other side of the bracket, Rib did go up 2-0 on that product, but did lose the next round to Penguins. So they're in the second half of that, scores 2-1 Rib on the product right there. But yeah, moving into the Vigil, I mean, I think we've only really gotten to see Witness on Koth thus far this season, outside of that Swiftwater game that we saw them play against Penguin back in week 3, and they were so dominant on that map. I feel like any analysis I give is going to be colored by that performance.
Yeah, that's why I really don't know what to expect here. It's uncharted for me as well as potentially the teams where Witness could be really good at Vigil. I don't know yet. So I mean, we'll see if they really have the game plan that warrants this as their pick that sends them to those grand finals, because ball's in their court. They have the upset map win. You just tap it in on your own map, and there you go. You're in.
Yeah, and I mean we saw the Vigil from DK earlier in the season against Penguin. That was a 2-1 in favor of DK. I think they were in the driver's seat for the majority of that match. Jen had an absolutely ridiculous performance to get Penguin to that one win, but I think DK was not particularly. I wouldn't say they weren't solid. They had room to improve. If you remember, a lot of the reason why they won that was Penguin's inability to deal with the forward gun on third, which the 9-minute hold that they got on that third point, I do not think is representative of their team skill, but more of a lack in Penguin's ability to adapt. And outside of that first half, right, which was determined by what I consider an outlier, it was like a bunch of 6-minute offenses of whoever exploded the least on defense.
Now, the big question on everyone's mind is, how is First going to go? Because First has been divisive this season. Me and Alto have been very vocal haters of the first hold on log side, where you commit your whole team. He thinks that, correct me if I'm quoting wrong, but you think that the forward hold is bad, and you should not play your team on that side.
I think it's irredeemable. I think it is a win more strategy that does not work against teams near your skill level, where you're risking your entire second hold to get another 30 seconds.
Yeah, so that's what Alto says. I say that I don't like full committing your team on logs. I'm much more fine with NG plus flank holding out on that side to bait players in, and then combo playing either standard or track side to kind of bait out aggression. If you can trade an Uber on first and then get your players out, you're feeling pretty good about yourself. So I'm of the school of thought where if you're willing to play like that and you're fine with your NG potentially exploding, as long as you're playing to back your combo out so you can keep hill control, I'm fine with it. It's just we have not seen teams
here's my thing.
Consistently do that.
I think if your med crosses tracks, you are trolling first. I'm not opposed to some kind of, not quite the hard hold you see on logs, but, try to harass them if your sniper's able to get a couple kills. It can buy you that 20 to 30 seconds in a much more, risk-free environment. But I'm not super big on the Uber trade, because to me, I think that Uber is something on second that the defense wants more than the offense. I think that as difficult as Vigil second can be to push sometimes, when you're playing into top invite teams and you don't have an Uber, it can be very, very risky because all it takes is one person peeking you from side tunnel at a weird time and the dominoes start falling, one spy coming in, getting a stab, versus on the offense, like, even if you don't have Uber, the Uber is great for the gun, but if you're able to get that first kill, you're able to leverage the height advantage that Hill gives you. So I don't think the risk is ever worth the reward, because for all of the Vigil first holds we've seen, I can recall over the past 2 to 3 years, maybe one of them got a team a 2+ minute first time, and their medic didn't die on the back out.
Yeah, I mean, the theory of the first hold is that that's a result that happens more often than not. So, I mean, if a team has perfected it or they know how to play around it, then it warrants doing it. We'll see if that team is Witness Gaming, because we are into the map Vigil, map 2 of this upper bracket finals. Witness Gaming up 1-0, and this is their map pick. So if they do tap this one in, they're going to the grand finals, starting out on red side here.
I'm expecting the forward hold because I think Witness is just taking shots at me at this point. They're going to pick the double Koth to make me upset, win on it to make me more upset, and then Vigil first hold to make me further upset, lose their med, and then still win on it. Just awful night to be me.
That's your cataclysm right there. But yeah, we will see. It looks like they're... Wait, where are they going? They're far back right now. It looks like they're just getting a setup with Flu. He has a exit teleporter on flank. Level 1, going back to spawn to get more metal, and he's going to teleport back probably. Yeah, teleports with the dispenser, built it in spawn. So he has the forward hold. We've seen a slightly different sentry position from most teams. And looks like Flu has a new one as well. It's on the corner.
It's not far enough left. Rookie mistake.
Not far enough. This is unique. I've not seen this one. I'm willing to learn. If this is the spot that makes the hold impenetrable, we'll see. But it is the full commit on left side. Everyone is here, except for Eerie.
Ooh, Lenny, bizarre bargain. Spicy pick.
Look at
here.
Jacob's decloak spot. He's going to go for a stab or a sap here. He's just going to take what he can find. He's going to get Lenny, I think, if no one sees him.
Oh, those flames just missed.
He's going for sap. He's going for sap. Sap on the gun. He gets air blasted. He gets the sap. Now here it comes. Medic and dispenser. Pop Uber. What are the kills going over? They lose fish. I mean, I'd say this is standard. You lose the gun, you lose 1 or 2 players, and then you keep everyone else alive with your Uber. So they got the Uber forced. You back out now with Uber dissad. This is the standard.
Okay, but what was the point of the hold? You just gave up your Uber for what?
Maybe the idea is that... Well, the idea probably is that the cart actually can't get close enough to second that the Uber dissad matters. Where if Ashley builds this up, they will have Uber before Dumb Kids is going up the hill with the cart in tunnel. Because this is going to take too long, right? So the idea is you get to just kind of edge this time out, where they can't really take advantage of you not having Uber. Here comes the Uber. They're going to pop forward to try and get cleanup kills, but it gets a couple. It gets Eerie. That's a pretty nice one to find. Poseidon going down as well, but I guess that's what you get out of it.
Well, so here's the thing. I like this setup. I like the gun on flank. I think it actually just got manually destroyed. I like the gun on flank. I like flank fighting that off. I like the med playing further back. You just traded your defensive Uber here for 20 seconds, and yes, you do end up getting the offensive Uber. I don't think they needed the pop. Ashley's gonna have, so... the forward hold quote-unquote worked here, and it bought you 29 seconds?
Yeah.
And what did you risk? You risked your men going down, you risked forward pressure.
I mean, if you can do this every time, if this becomes the standard where teams playing at a high level do that, I see why that's a default strategy. Here comes a bomb from Prompt, looking to go in, see if they can find anything. Billy's in 2, they find Eerie, and a couple players in behind. They managed to get Kira and Fish and Blank, so a lot of good kills coming in. The bulk of the force, though, standing inside with this level 3, but wait, third is just capped. They just lost too many players in the side forward. Wait, they didn't have Uber. They didn't pop an Uber there.
Yeah, they never got fully set up. They never fully got the hill control that they needed because they were still losing numbers from the first hold.
It's not even like the Witness were because they had Uber. And they had other players. I don't know why they just gave that up for free without popping or contesting. Here comes an Uber on the aggressing players, and look at this.
They waited so long that you got a second Uber out from the offense that's not even an ad.
Well, I mean, this is the same Uber that Witness had on second. They just didn't pop
Right,
it on
no,
second
yeah,
for
but
no
they
reason.
waited so long to use it that Blake built up another one after he walked in with it on second.
Jacob's in,
They
he
are
gets two.
getting second kills, but Jacob gets
Melon and
Ashley
Ashley.
too. That's,
that's
the big
big
one.
picks.
Oh boy.
I mean, his team did wipe, but Blake is alive. If they can start charging, this is going to be a pretty good ad. Ashley's still dead for 10 seconds, and here comes the charge. I would love to see a Basher on triple in situations like this, but just going to buff up people in the meantime, I guess. Because, like, what does the ball realistically do? You spam to the corner, you go flank one time.
Makes me mad when I play Pyro
True.
and don't reflect it because I've got old man reflexes. That's what's
Okay,
important.
so we gotta watch Brian here. They're moving him and the combo onto flank. Entry picks are gonna be at a premium here. Anything that they can get will make this push really easy with this Uber ad for dumb kids. The rest of the team kind of grouping up, getting buffed up. Jacob low will be alive on this rock, but barely. We'll see if he can actually do anything from here.
Yep, Lenny opening up on the Tuka is going to be good. No heavy means that they can get collapsed on much more easily, and Poseidon going to take advantage of that, walking forward, getting
Blake's
some damage,
dead.
and Blake caught out. That's exactly what happens when you lose your heavy. No one's there to shoot the soldier, shoot the scout. That's coming in on your med. That Uber ad going to go to naught. Jacob up on top of the rock.
He's been here for the last 30 seconds. He's been here for so long. He's too scared to move. He's gonna decloak and get killed by like a chip shot across the map too.
He takes fall damage here. I'm going to bust
Okay,
the
he's
gun,
off.
but
He's
now-
off. Entry onto blank, but here comes the Uber out of the defense, looking to run forward and see if they can find anything. Get Crump, which is a pretty good kill to find, but Blake is long gone, so I mean, this is just time ticking right now for Witness Gaming. After giving up second for basically free, they need all the time they can get, and so far they've helped pretty well on third. They've
Forward
got
hold on flank. For aggro gun on flank. DEFCON 5. We have the Yee hold in upper bracket finals.
And look at this, Flu has revenge crits too. Look, Fuzzy's in the backline though, he's getting some damage, and Jacob gets killed by that glow stick. Those revenge crits coming in clutch. Duke gonna get taken out as well, so.
Just walked into 5 people in window room with his fists out on fire. Going to go down at the forward hold, not quite paying off dividends here. They
Flu
buy
being
some
dead
time
is
with it.
huge, by the way, because he can't rebuild a gun, so there's not going to be a sentry gun for a very long time. But look at this, Poseidon's going on a flank. He kills Brian, he kills Billy. Huge plays out of Poseidon right now, and he does have a banner if I saw correctly. So
He dies at the end of it, so no banner for him. Unfortunately, the Uber, they're gonna come out from both sides. Here's the exchange, and just a bit of a wet noodle fight right there. There's no real damage, no real frags to be made right there, but the offense losing that Uber is going to hurt.
yeah, and Flu getting a chance to build his gun up now. It's level 1, but we'll be upgrading it shortly. So once that's back up, the defense is up to full strength. And Brian moved flank again. We've not called his name in this match so far. Lenny gets a 7k, meanwhile on the opposite side, so doing tons of work is that Witness Sniper. And Crump beats a pipe and just dies, so no demo. It's really hard to get things done. Here comes a Soldier Bomb over the top, looking to find damage on. Billy Boy gets some damage down, but it's not going to be enough. Brian does get on the board with a good counter snipe on Lenny, shutting down that defensive sniper.
Yep, the cart really hasn't had too much time. Blake takes a little bit of damage on it. Fish gets the pyro stab, not exactly what you used to seeing, but Jacob going in draws some pressure
Poseidon's
behind.
Brian
As they
again.
start getting on gun, it's going to be enough to force out the Uber. They don't want to let the cart go up this hill. They're going to find the...
Look at this, they're going to go immediately. They're going to go immediately with
Fine.
Heavy on the corner. I really like this. Yep, Pop Uber on the Heavy Scout. Duke gets a good flash, Pump gets a flash, and this is going to
That's
get a
it.
cap. Yeah, Witness Gaming are just backing it up. Just clean up from triple on the side, but I mean, that's pretty solid if you're Witness. You're okay with how things transpired on that point.
Yeah, 620 through third is fine.
Yeah,
I mean, I think
420
maybe...
on third is pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, even on the offense, you're not too upset about that, but given the 2 minutes through second, you'd like to have not seen 4 minutes on third, but, you know, Witness really did lock down. This is their map pick. I think they probably got caught out a little bit from the you-know-what, Zag. I'll be subtle and not aim it. It's probably unfairly wearing it out, but... You know, pretty solid time right now. You're going to need to see a really quick time, though, out of DK on last here, unless you want to start getting the time into the long ranges.
Yep, Erie dead, so is Tuke, both Heavy's dead. Jacob's in spawn, looking for a medic. He barely can't get the stab onto Ashley before he gets into spawn. And that's going to be Blake getting backstabbed on the other side, so Fish having a lot of success. That looked to be like kind of a sack/dry push, but committed their medic too far forward, eats a backstab. There's Ice Sculpture in main, and now Witness Gaming get firm control of last.
Yeah, Brian just a little too far forward. Kira can't land anything. Gets tags blank in to finish off the kill.
Carson's healing his telly and spawn. Blank can't kill it.
What's this guy doing, man? Doesn't he have anything better to do?
No, not at the moment.
Yeah, get that
Lenny
telly
in main.
upgraded.
gets forced back. Flu's got his level 3 on the crate as standard. Where's Jacob? He's on
Just
flank
gonna
right
try
now.
to force it in through main as well. They're not even getting any damage out onto Ashwood. They're gonna find Eerie with that. If you trade your heavy to, you know, a 5-man sack that doesn't touch your med, you're not too upset about it. Poseidon's gonna find the telly as well. He's back at spawn. No, never mind. He's not. I misread the names, but he does get the exit regardless. That Carson spent so much time keeping alive.
Lenny has a shot in main. Oh, doesn't get the... He saw Blake's toast for a second, but couldn't quite find the angle. And Jacob going down in the meantime, so no spy available to try and get in on this one. It is going to be 100% Uber for both sides, so Blake and Dumbkids looking to a cliffside, and they see Eerie very close. They want to try and punish him, but Fist of Steel will get him out. And the rest of the combo moving in. Looks like they want to go right now.
Get popped out. They're gonna drop triple to
There's
the
no sap.
Sentry Rockets, though. No sap. That gun's taking so much damage, it probably goes down eventually. No! Getting healed up by Flu,
Jacob,
but the stats from Jacob. Lots of players now dead on the side of Witness Gaming. They have the battalions from Poseidon to buy them some time.
Crucially,
Both
Jacob didn't get the
sides
sap,
regrouping
so
that.
Gun stays up until now. Kira gets a really well-timed sticky onto Brian, so now Lenny uncontested here. They're so scared. Blake will get his head taken off if he beats one more second, but here comes Billy Boy trying to get blank, and he gets blanked, but not much else. Here comes Crump trying to do some damage, but taken so low. Melon dead, needs a backstab. Jacob doing some good work on this last point, but their health is just too poor. They have to back up.
Yeah, losing Brian there really hurts because he's supposed to control so much space and find a lot of those further back players, but you lose him, and suddenly, even with the potential numbers add, you know, the classes are just so much better on Witness. Gun now coming back up quite quickly as well. That level 3 dispense, giving a surprising amount of metal, helping Flu to rebuild. So, flank pressure coming in again. Blake with Uber actually just coming up on it.
Yep, and looks like they're trying to just force their way in. They're onto the sentry gun. No sap once again, and it's taking pretty much all of Crump's projectiles. It does go down in the end this time, so there is that. Jacob, there's nothing to sap, buddy. He's out for now.
Yeah, Tuke has some ground in flank, getting some damage and finds Blank, but Brian gets stabbed out. Tuke's gonna go down. Fish activating. Blake gets a saw off of him, though. That could be big. I think he got 2.
Yeah, Blake got 2 Uber saws. He's on 80%, so Fish with a 2K, but at the end of the day, you don't want to give 50% Uber for free. That's half of an anti-drop, if anything. I hear a battalion, though, popped out by Poseidon. It could be very well timed, because Fish is going to call that he got sawed twice, so they know that Blake has Uber, right? So, look at this. The banner's being held for Poseidon. It's very well timed. The second Uber comes in, he's going to pop the banner out and buy time for Ashley to get the Uber. Oh, huge shot.
And
Advantage
massive
gone.
to go in. They're going to lose Kira, but you take that trade to get that offensive demo. Banner popped out right now. There
no one can
might
kill Gun.
get the gun,
Nobody
but
can
no
kill
sap
Gun.
again.
Yeah, no demo man. Gun stays alive throughout the entire Uber. That's disastrous. They can't even kill it. Jacob
Losing
has not
Crump is
sapped it
such
once.
a deflator right there.
Yeah.
Poseidon
Crump had
tries
shots,
to whip Carson, will go down. As no banner for him for any time soon. Buys Jacob the space to cross in. Cloak. Fish, I don't think even saw him start to decloak.
Yeah,
Uber's
and-
popped out.
Yeah,
They
they're
have
wrapping.
Blake wrap.
Kira's wrapping them for fun, and it's gonna work. Blake gets a headshot, Fuzzy gets stickied out, and this is all Witness Gaming. DK looks lost on this last push here, which, when it's Witness's map pick, you understand it, but dumb kids are not even looking to put up a decent time. They were 2 minutes through second. They'd be lucky to get 10 minutes through the map.
Yeah, I think we may even be beyond that at this point. Even if they cap now, it would still be in the upper 9. But the cart's not even past the
Jacob
bend,
is dead, no sap.
much less up the ramp. So
And kills Fuzzy.
they're just
level 3
trying
gun.
to flood out Red Room right now, do whatever they can. It's going to get them a handful of kills, but they're going to lose
Lenny's
just
here.
as many bodies.
They're 2 turrets. Lenny and the actual turret are here, just killing everyone in main.
Yeah, this is a team that's kind of played out their rope in terms of what their strats were prepared for, and versus what they can actually do. You know, if DK had won their map, you're gonna say, okay, well, worst case you lose Vigil, you take them on the next COF map, but they've got to find a way to crack this last hold, if not this round, in the next one.
Yeah, triple dead, Jacob dead, no sap on the gun once more, and it's not even taking damage. Blake has 80%, but the health is really bad on the side of DK. They lose Tuke as well, they lose Fuzzy, and they gotta be so careful here. If Blake can get collapsed on here, if anyone really sees it, and they're gonna try, spy in on it, calling it. Here comes Kira with some stickies, but look at this, dumb kid's gonna be shepherded all the way back toward their spawn.
Yeah, it's a minute 30 left on the clock.
What?
Not
Wait, he
looking
actually
good.
right-clicked. Wait, no, he took damage.
No, he got
What did take
forced.
damage?
He must have gotten body shot or something.
he took like infinite damage on the back, and they just desperation walk in and died stickies.
It might have
Dolphin
been,
saying
might
that
have
he
been.
got Dolphin saying he got hit by a rocket and a cleaver, and like took all of his health instantly.
Boys are a good weapon that makes CS2 better. And speaking of Cleaver, dude's gonna get axed by that. Fuzzy gonna go down next. Italians popped out, and I mean, you would not
Harhold
believe
incoming,
this.
by the way.
Huh?
Harhold potentially incoming.
Yeah.
1
You
minute
would not
left on the
believe
game
this
clock.
team gave up second almost instantly with how solid they've looked on the back half of the map. Brian going down means that whatever's happening here not likely to go over too well. Blake hit up low on this roof right now. Fish coming in from behind, not going to be able to clean him up. But the rocket from Poseidon finds Blake. So they may not. They're just going to have an Uber as we tick into overtime on the stopwatch.
Yeah, I mean, you're not gonna get it, so do you go quick fix? It's 30 seconds left, he's 1%, so it's not looking good. Billy dead. Brian just pick up Kira, that's a start, but okay, Jacob saps the gun, the team is in, and the gun is dead! We did it, guys! Sap, and sack, and force the Uber out of the defense. Crump beats another headshot, so he's just dead. And yeah, 15 seconds left.
Yep. Now only 40 for Blake, so he's gotta hope Fish gives him some saws real quick. But Fish taking out
Level
Brian
1
in the
gun's
meantime.
still doing work, they can't even get the cart.
Yep. Overtime called. A few seconds left for them to get on the cart. The glow stick's gonna say no, and that is a dominant first round from Witness Gaming. And Zach, I said they were gonna forward hold. It wasn't gonna go well. It cost them their second, and they win anyway.
I'm gonna be honest, I don't think it necessarily cost them second. Like, they had everything in position. They had Uber, they had like 9
never
players
gun.
alive. But it's only the gun. If you have 9 players alive, you just answer with your Uber that you worked hard, and then you can play afterwards. You at least get time, and then you back up.
But
third.
you lose players because you don't have a gun, and at that point you
But they
lose
have
everyone.
Uber ad. Just pop Uber and contest
They didn't
it.
have ad. It was
They
even.
did. No, they had. They had ad. Because remember, Witness Gaming repopped when they respawned into main. They had ad. They could have popped. They just chose to drop players back at the spawn and lose a point.
Mission begins
Did
in 30
DK popped in second too, though, right? Am I?
No,
or
they
am I
did
just-
not.
No,
No.
they didn't. Okay, my bad then.
DK got
they did.
DK got the Uber Force on first. Then Witness backed up to the hill. Then DK popped in through tracks to force the cart, and then they backed up, and then no Ubers were popped on second.
Mission begins
Regardless,
in 10 seconds.
with a fourth hard hold and 6:20 through 3 as a secondary win condition, Witness Gaming are in firm control of their destiny here. This is such an easy tap-in on your own map pick to make it to the grand finals. So we'll see if Dumb Kids can dig deep. They're going with a forward hold as well. We'll see if they can pull it off and not, have things go wrong.
Ooh, and while we're still in the setup time, Zach, I've got big news.
What's that?
Penguin Rib are 3-3 on product right now.
Banger.
So,
Penguin can pull that one out, so we go later. Because that match may last longer than this one. Here comes the Uber through tracks and the gun immediately. There's no sap, though. So, what was the Super for? Wait, actually, what was the Super for? They didn't even bomb onto Blake.
I'm not quite sure. I think they were hoping to maybe walk up, get a little closer. It seems like
They're close now, and they're gonna go.
yeah, they're
Besides
losing a
dead,
bunch of
Lenny's
players.
dead.
But Carson going down means that gun's going to be gone, as is the entire setup right now. Blake starting to back off. The red Uber did get forced there, so slight ad for Ashley, but they're keeping players in.
If you're dumb kids here, you play combo tunnel entrance and then you repop Uber after they pop. Because you kept enough players alive and the Uber's not that bad. That said, Lenny getting that SPS win to Bryant is huge because now you can't play wide. Is that a battalion's like here already? It is. Billy Boy has it. They're
Yeah.
gonna pop up and go. I really
I like this. I do like this a lot. Just, be smart about how you play your aggression. Pop
said,
out
they
with the
dropped
banner,
3,
good
including the
catch.
battalions. They're losing everyone.
Yeah, no.
And they eat a headshot. Oh no, it's done.
And there's your med getting caught out.
I've actually lost
give
3
them
with
some
battalions.
mercy. Yeah, I'll give them some mercy on this one. You're so pressured by the clock here that the call is probably we
It was
have
good. It was a
battalions.
good call. You
Let's
battalions
try
in,
to-
and then you get your
yeah.
Uber, and then you can continue holding.
They
At
just-
least
but
solve
everyone just loses their ones, which
Yeah, everyone died with battalion.
not necessarily the fault of the strat, fault of the players. But Lenny opening up onto Billy Boy, yeah, I think this might be a go next here.
I mean, yeah, do you even try to walk out into second? It's looking like the answer is no. They're gonna go tracks, peek in maybe, but I mean, they're trying to peek in. They want to probably at least force Uber, but Crumpus is the headshot again. Lenny's taken his head off literally every time Crumpus peeked it out this entire match.
Poseidon just sinks Brian from orbit.
Low orbital ion cannon in on the back of second. Fuzzy's gonna go down.
Billy's 1 HP.
Caught out. Yeah, might have been waiting in the spawns, I think, to go behind. But they got 4 minutes now to cap third, and they've already got people up.
Fish is behind the gun. He's gonna sap it. They're gonna try to peek in on it. They will get the gun, and he will live somehow. So
look at that. We sap guns here. It's crazy.
Yeah, Kirit's a headshot, though. That's a big one from Brian. And now with no demo in, but look at this. Brian's dead. Lenny takes his head off, and he's still here. Jacob's dead. Fish gets traded to no spy on either side. Tuke vs. Poseidon is popping off on flank, but here comes Billy with the assist, taking out Poseidon. And this will be enough for Dumb Kids to stabilize here just a bit, but it's such a tall task. 3.5 minutes on this point, and then hard hold last. I mean, it starts with one step, right? So just keep it up for now.
Yeah, I mean, you need 3 minutes just on third, and then you're still gonna probably have another 5 minutes of hard holding third alone. Ubers are coming out right now.
Tuke is just dead.
Lenny's on a 7. Okay, yeah, I think that's gonna be the first domino to fall. Unfalling
Stop on the gun for Fish.
But
it's
there
clean.
is Poseidon. Nukes out Brian again, second point in a row. Billy Boy coming in, finds Ashley.
That's
May
good,
not even matter.
They have to contest. They have to sack. You can't not defend this.
Erie's such a menace. He finally goes down.
Crumpus here. Crumpus big here.
Ooh, yeah, no, they're able to get the spawners in time. Thought that might have been it, but not quite. Signs of life yet for DK. Able to stop the cart from going up the ramp right now. 2.5 minutes still on the mandatory third hold before the stopwatch time takes over.
Yeah, and I mean, they have, to their credit, they have space, they have Uber ad, and they'll be building their sentry gun right now, so things looking alright for the side of DK, but Tuke just bleeding way too far forward, and they're going to sack forward, see what they can get. Well, they got Brian, and they got a couple more. Yeah, it's pretty good. They got Flu, Blank, Erie going down as well, so that's a lot of kills coming through. A couple players sacking in last second, but they are going to lose them, and Billy Boy cleans up Ashley on the back out, so, I mean, all's well that ends well for Dumb Kids. They're looking like they're favored to continue the third hold and push us to last at least.
I'm concerned with this is now the forward gun that we saw that we mentioned that Penguin had so much trouble with, but not quite as not quite as bad when we saw that against Rib last time with Chalk knowing to immediately just peek that from track. Brian going to find Lenny though, and now the Uber's popped out from Red. They're going to try to find Ashley,
Fish gets
but she's
Brian
long
and
gone.
Tuke, though.
Ooh.
That's a really good kills out of him. And now with the team having Uberad, we might see Witness try to take space here. It's a minute 20 left on this mandatory third hold. Jacob gonna get out of dodge for now, but he has to make a play, honestly. They're down Carson right now on Dumb Kids, so there's gonna be no sentry gun.
Yeah, and I mean, if you're DK, regardless of how this half turns out, this is a promising sign, right? You're able to stabilize, get some, leg back into this game. You're in a spot where it's not entirely out of the, out of conception that you managed to hold the mandatory time. And then even then, you just say, okay, well, something to build off of for next time. Still a minute left, and Witness isn't going to want to risk it. Uber's popped out right now. Going in, Fuzzy going to be the first one down. Gun still in spawn for Carson, so Crump has nowhere to fall back to. He and Tuke going to be next. Triple goes in, but there is Blake going down. No Uber to fall back on. That will be the cap. In, I guess, about 5:50?
Yeah, something like that. Close to a 6-minute time. Pretty good through 3. But you gotta imagine that the story is what comes after that. So, I mean, with Witness Gaming going up 1-0 on Dumb Kids here, I gotta say, they are looking really crisp on Vigil, and we're just showing why this is their map pick.
Yep, real crisp, real solid, and they are on match point right now. One more half on Vigil's all it's gonna take. Gonna need to see DK pull 2 in a row just to pull us onto map 3, which is a Koth, is their map pick. So if they're able to do that, I think good signs for them, but that's a very big if in that statement.
Lenny's 28-6. Jesus.
Well, stats here don't. You hard hold
I mean,
someone on last, you can't take a look at the logs.
Poor Jacob. That's a rough game. Although I will say, I'm very disappointed with how long it took for them to get a coordinated sap with their push. Like, that's like 101. Like, you die for the sap, that's fine. The fact that the sentry gun didn't even go down in the first, 2-3 Ubers was criminal.
We mentioned we've casted, this is the third time we've casted DK on Vigil. we casted it in the rib match last week. We casted it in week 5 of the regular season. At one of those times, we said something. I remember saying something along the lines of like, Jacob was just decloaking on the spawn and getting 2Ks every time. And I'm like, that was the entirety of their last offense. And if he is able to be shut down and stops getting those 2 kills, the fact that he's only going in for stabs, he's not looking to enforce the gun when it gets wrangled, is something that could be capitalized off of. The previous teams to play DK on Vigil, not good enough to do that. Witness, different breed. And, Jacob trying for that big pick, not going to find it, never switched off to Enforcer. And that's why the gun, as you said, stayed up for as long as it did.
Yeah, that's another thing. Like you mentioned, the Enforcer. If you don't want to sap the gun on Spire, if the enemy team is doing a good job at denying your sap, and like you feel like getting it on there is a coin flip, and you'd rather have guaranteed value, the Vigil Last is so good for offensive Enforcer Spy. You can do it from anywhere. You can do it from main. You can do it from Red Room. You can do it from Cliffside. It goes through the shield, so you just decloak when your team is fighting. No one's going to be looking at you if you're doing it from like your side. You just shoot the gun 4 times. Your demo shoots 2 stickies at it. It's dead through the Wrangler. Like, you don't have to sap it. You just can't unspy continue to die
real
on
quick.
last.
I think Dolphin's mistaken in chat right now. It is a 4-3 for Rib on product, as it turns out, which means that they will be moving on to the lower bracket finals. So that's going to be the end of Penguin season. Unfortunate for them. I think we kind of expected that kind of performance. I'm roster writing on Penguin, so I was hoping they'd pull it out, but I think Ribs really just improved so much over the course of the season, and it looks like Penguin hasn't been able to have that same level of improvement. So Rib is now waiting in the lower bracket, licking their lips to see which of these teams is going to fall in to face them on, I think it ends up being Sunday, right, Dolphin? Yeah, so we'll be lower bracket finals on Sunday, and then grand finals the next day right afterwards. So going to be only 6 days until the next cast instead of the full 7. So with that little bit wrapped up, we can bring our attention back to this match, which may be in danger of ending earlier than we would have liked as well. Zag, what do we need to see from DK for their match to continue tonight?
I mean, their defense looked passable, right? I mean, it just comes to the fact that on 3rd, they really had no answers, and then on 4th especially, when we saw them get to 4th, like through 3, they're passable, right? Through 3, it's fine. When they get to 4th, nothing they did worked. They had no coordination, no set plays really ever came in. Gun stayed up way too long. Sniper really didn't have an impact for the side of dumb kids. Like, Brian really never got a chance to peek in and do some real damage. Lenny just completely dominated them. You need to find a way to maintain control, like enough control on Vigil Last where you can pressure from multiple angles, right? And whether that be if you're taking your Uber up through flank side, whether that be like leaving a buffed heavy in red room, like, buffing him then running underneath, so he at least has like 350 health to walk through a red room, or helping people on tracks kind of contest. For like 5 minutes straight, I watched DK take Ubers through top left, shoot 8 stickies at the gun, either not kill it or barely kill it, and then get no position off it. It just feels like their last pushes didn't have a goal in mind. Like, people weren't on the same page about where to go and what to do.
I've come to dislike Ubers in through flank a lot of the time, especially in even situations. I feel like it's very easy for things to go wrong. Be it your demo gets sniped out, you get, someone eats a trap. That the staircase walking up to it is such a spam funnel that it's very easy for someone to just get, caught up by stickies or rockets or, whatever may have you. But on top of that, like, unless you're having an ad enough that you can drop down off of that height advantage and really commit and try to scatter the defense, it means that you still, as a defense, you kite away from them in towards cart, right? Which means you're still then able to shoot the objective.
So the old meta on Vigil was your Uber would come through red room or tracks, most of the time Red Room, because it was the shortest path to the enemy combo, right? It's the fastest way you can get into them and force their Uber in return. The problem is, when you ignore high ground, which is that left side flank, enemy team gets to maintain position on you in post, and you will end up just getting shot by spam and dying in post. The idea of the flank Uber is you take them off of that high ground, and you control it for post. The problem is, you've just taken, if you full commit onto flank and you don't get control elsewhere, you've gone from funneling through like one angle to funneling through another angle. If you give the enemy team all of main to work with, all of that like a perch on left side for defense to work with, and you've not taken them off their spot, you're just on a different funnel. So you're just going to get shot back, you're not going to be able to actually get space into last. No matter where you take your Uber on this map, all on last, you need to be able to kind of pinch the defense in towards their spawn so you can collapse in, get cart time, and get the kills. It turns out that the reason why the upper Uber became more common, the flank Uber, is because the Uber is better at getting control on upper. Because of that like narrow choke point, like you said, the downward angles on the ramp, on the staircase are so bad that like if you send a soldier or heavy there, they're not actually going to be able to do much. So if you send your Uber there, it's a lot easier to take that high ground, and we see that. Teams always take onto flank. Where they fall short is they're not able to get space and get the cart afterwards. And when it comes to like getting space afterwards, if you're going to take your Uber onto flank, you have to have some other organized force with a goal on the other side, through Red Room or through main, and DK lack that. And like you said before in that Penguin match, where it felt like their offense on last was Jacob getting 2Ks, if your spy gets like random 2Ks and you get guns like on cooldown, then you don't actually need to worry about pressuring multiple angles. But Witness Gaming is too good of a team. They're not going to give you freebies. You need to actually do work to funnel them back and push them back so you can get last. And if you can't do that, they will hardhold you and you will lose the game.
Yeah, going back to the flank Uber, I agree with the assessment, right, that you need to control that space. But I don't like the Uber through it because ultimately the tracks are the important area here, right? If everyone on offense fully controls the flank area, defense is like, all right, sure, you're not capping. You know, you're forcing us to play on the objective even more, which is fine. I've been a fan of you pressure flank side, right? Get a scout, maybe get a soldier in there so that they're able to kind of control that area and not let defense play it for free. Then rotate out and go for the tracks Uber. Like, to me, the platonic ideal of a successful Vigil last push is getting your heavy on the head glitch. It's possible that if you Uber in through flank and get enough like kills and gun, your heavy can drop down onto it, but more often than not, it comes through walking up tracks. I ultimately, I think, to me, the Uber coming through the track side is almost always going to be better simply because it forces the defense to fight you on the objective. Which, you know, once they're forced to fight you, they lose defender's advantage, you can take the fight to them, etc. It catches them out, they're going to be playing in longer sight lines, and if they try to kite you away, right, if you take a full-out Uber in through tracks and they want to kite you back, they either have to kite you into spawn, where, you know, they can't do anything, or they kite you to their right side, you know, onto the flank, where, once again, they can't shoot cart. If you take an ad Uber in through flank, they kite you onto cart, where, yes, they're at risk of things like sniper, they're at risk of people running out of Red Room, but there's no existential threat to them right there. Ultimately, what then ends up happening is you're using your ad just to funnel them into a sightline, and it's dependent on your sniper winning the SVS, which, over that defense, Brian was not doing.
Yeah, I mean, you got to think about it from the defensive point of view, where if you know they're going to take the Uber into flank, your flank players, which is most time going to be like soldier, maybe heavy, maybe not, scout rotates over, they're just going to leave. They're not going to give you, like, if they're good, they're not going to give you the kill. And if they don't give you the kill, you're now funneled onto this high ground. Ideally, you can spam down into low ground and get the cap off of getting kills that way. But if you don't get anything immediately and the gun stays up, and the people who got pushed out of flank re-push you on flank in time with the other players looking at you, you are just pinched, and it's not going to work. But we are into the second round here. And for Witness Gaming, up 1-0, already won their opponent's map pick on product, 4-3. It was a banger of a game, but Witness Gaming pulling off that upset gives them the position they're in now, which is one more round on Vigil. They are grand finalists. Dumb kids, if they want to keep that top seed chance alive, they have to come back, show they can stand up on Vigil, and get this one on the board.
Exactly. It's going to be
Mission begins in
all
10
on them right now. They are going to be starting out on defense, which means that they'll have the benefit of pushing their own time.
3,
You know,
2,
obviously that only matters insofar as you don't get hard held, right? But can be a marginal advantage, and they're going to need everyone they can get staring down the barrel of Witness Gaming's pretty solid Vigil up. And look at Jacob. He's not even, like, cloaking up near spawn. He's just checking loadouts right now.
Yeah, I mean, that's fine.
Fast
That's really
Uber
fast
into
Uber, yeah.
flank. Whoa.
They did this before, and it gets countered immediately this time, so even Uber exchange, no one dying, just taking it immediately. I like that adaptation. Just, you know, things have been working for Witness, so just force pressure onto Dumpkins. I like the idea. And it looks like Dumpkins have committed here. They have not taken the opportunity to cross back over yet, so they are just full committed to this hold. You have to imagine if a sap on the gun comes down, they could explode. Speaking of, Lenny's headshot Blake, and this is going to come crumbling down.
Wow, wow. Guess what, Zag?
Yep, that does not work.
Dalton, I need you to start putting, like, point bets up of, is the defense medic on the Vigil first hold going to make it out alive?
Yeah, if they hold log side. I mean, they're like, when you pop the... I really love the play of Witness, right? Because Witness knows that if they put pressure on dumb kids, they're going to make mistakes. So that's what they do. They just force the Uber out. They tell dumb kids, hey, you're going to make a mistake. And sure enough, their med peaks the sight line. They can't cross back. They lose and they die. So now, coming into second, Ashley does have Uber Dissad, waited 10 seconds before spawning the heal. So that's kind of unfortunate, I guess. But dumb kids will have a chance to hold second here.
Yeah, they don't have... No, they do have a level 3 up. I'm sorry, they were building it up. Just driving it down, but they're going to take the pressure in through trap. Gun goes down, Carson's dead. Fish, the only kill the defense
Crump is
is
1
able to
HP
get so
and Blake
far.
moves him up. Blank's in behind. They're
Lenny
flanking.
onto Blake
Lenny
again.
is flanking side tunnel. Lenny flanked side tunnel and killed Blake on the push-up.
He killed Blake on the top of Hill, too. This wasn't like he killed him on the dispenser. This
No,
is
he pushed
effectively
all the
an
way to
ace.
side
Jacob is alive on the back of first, but effectively dead.
Yeah, and Witness Gaming are just showing that they're superior at the map at this point. Dumb kids, they don't have a response, and now they're stuck defending third. It's only small Uber Dissad, so it's not the end of the world, but keep in mind, when Witness Gaming literally gave second for free, they had a worse time than Dumb Kids have put up here.
That is correct.
Brian getting his toes in the water there, killing Lenny. Triple gets backstabbed though, so there's room here to work on Flank, and they will work it. Tuke is dead. Flank running through and killing him, so defensive heavy is dead. Carson trying to build up level 3, will get up in time, but Fish is in position for the sap. Here comes the sap, and there's the nuke. Brian's dead. Fuzzy will die as well, and yeah, the point's up.
Really big out of Fuzzy to get the homewrecker on that immediately. Only reason why that wasn't even, well, I guess it can't really be more disastrous. It was a good play at the moment, but ultimately didn't end up mattering because Iden still comes in, gets a lot.
It's just perfect timing. Even if the gun is set for like 1 second, the soldier getting in and nuking like that is perfect, and that's just high level.
Yep, they are just flooding into last, but the focus fire on Kira gonna do a lot.
They were trying to press the Uber out. When this were trying to force the Uber out, dumb kids don't bite on it, so Uber lets neutral.
Yeah, you've got a decent amount of cart time between third and last, so even if your demo goes down, we'll respawn up in no time at all. Back in right as the cart gets up to kind of the spot where it stops being a free push. Jacob is lurking around here on tracks. Will be forced into the lower blank. Going for the full chase.
Counter espionage. Spy fighting under, but they're hunting him.
Uber's got traded out in the meantime, while Jacob eventually gets hunted down. But nothing really found. No gun kill either. Now the flank pressure imposed. Interesting inversion on what we saw from the
Yeah, they have it. Fish has sap gun too. Yeah, gun sap, gun dead. And here comes the bomb. Billy Boy does die instantly, and they're getting some more kills. Carson's dead. Yuri getting headshot is 1 kill back, but this is just all falling apart. Fuzzy gets a reflect kill, but that's all she wrote on this round. Blake's dead. Tuke is dead. It's just 1 demo man left, but what can he do? The answer's not much. Stabbed in for Jacob, but that's it. 4-16 through 4. That is blazing, and that's probably the end of the match.
Match on the line, and 4-16 comes up. We've seen crazier.
Mission begins.
If you're dumb kids, you just can't go to Vigil. Like, you cannot lose your Koth map. That's like the nail on the coffin for the match, in theory, from what we're seeing here. They look completely outclassed on Vigil. Looks not even close.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still not happy about with how. Okay, did they pick double Koth, and are they likely going to win? Yes. With how rough DK has looked on Vigil, I don't think you can tell me that Swiftwater would have been worse than Asheville.
Maybe there's something we don't. Alright. Witness Gaming have to hold for
They're
4
mad
minutes and
mogging
16
me and
seconds.
spiking my cortisol levels, Zag.
I mean, you deserve that after all the low cortisol of watching meds explode on logs before. So now you'll get to see Witness do it, and they will hold and they will win.
2, 1.
Dude, if Ashley gets scooped off the map 8 seconds into the round by a sack, I'm gonna scream.
They were fine with immediately popping Uber when they got pressured, which I think is fine. Like, if they do the same thing again they did last round, I will not be upset. Yeah, here comes the Uber, it's fast trade. Jacob has a sap on the gun, so this is all going to standard. Gun goes down, Uber ends, 2 people die, Jacob will die. And yeah, this is about normal. Actually trying to get out now will be safe for the meantime. 2 can will go down. Stab on the fuzzy, it's not gonna get much, and if you are a Dumpkins here, you can't waste too much time on this. They will get back onto cart here. Eerie has a back positioning, but look at this. Full commit on flank here for Witness Gaming. They TP back in. They're going to rebuild here.
Ironically, it might almost work this time because you have so little time to beat the whole. You just full commit on this and try to get 2 minutes off of it. Keep this telly alive, keep bodies coming in. But no, actually gonna cross out successfully.
Yeah, I mean, this is fine for... It's fine for Witness. If you're dumb kids, you'll take this at bare minimum. The thing is, they actually need to get cart because they are just bleeding this time. It's already a minute off the board. This is gonna end very quickly if they aren't able to get forward. And they have Uber ad, but you gotta imagine they really want to keep it. The question is, will they be allowed to? And the answer is no.
Yeah, Lenny getting Carson. Uber coming in right now. Crump not even gonna find
If you're
any.
Witness Gaming, go in right now, hit him with a knockout punch. I dare you. The answer is no. They have composure. They will just back up a second.
I mean, if everyone killed binds at the same time.
Alright,
Guess
if you're
what?
dumb kids here, you need this Uber drop. How will you get it?
Jacob's already getting sniffed out in the back line. That hurts. They're just walking forward right now. They're able to get a couple kills with it, but
Yeah,
there
Uber's
is the
gonna clean
Uber
them up.
force.
Alright, if you're dumb kids, keep moving the cart. You have no choice. You need to win this next push. Blake does have 50%. The question is, can they wait for it? I don't think they can. I think you have to pressure. The time is going so low. If they wait for this Uber, they only have a minute 40 seconds left. And that's after they cap second.
Yeah.
Wait.
Crump
is dead
Crump and
immediately.
Blank are going to trade. There is Poseidon coming in over the top. Gets Fuzzy off the
I mean,
card. Will
Tuke is
go
in
down
and
for
doing
it.
work. So is Brian. But Fish has a stab angle. Gets Brian. That's a pretty good pick. The Revolver's down 2.
Uber is popped out. Ashley just
Yeah, they're only
not
3
by
in.
that scatter gun. This is
It's maybe
Going-
winnable on
has
the
to be.
point.
But look at Kira. Kira
Yeah,
up
Kira's
behind
behind.
on the hill.
He doesn't
I
like
would
it.
have.
We'll
I
just
would have
get
said
out.
keep playing that angle just to keep harassing the cart. Every
I mean,
second here matters. Eerie
Just left, yeah.
trying to play. Just trying to play assassin right there in case anyone got over aggro.
Still
We'll back
technically
up.
possible. You have to keep moving the cart, and you have to win this. It feels like without Uber. Like, if you pop your Uber here, the game probably ends instantly.
Jacob going down, very unfortunate. No one's even in position to back him up
Tuke's
on
gonna die
that.
too. Yeah, this one's looking done.
You need like a high bomb to miraculously
kills,
kill 3
yeah.
people and a medic. But
And
Lenny
Med going down is
instead's gonna find Blake. That may be the nail in the coffin. Crump and Brian going to be next. A minute left. We are nearing the realm of impossibility right here, and Ashley is nearing Uber. I think this is likely going to be about it. So
From this time, Witness Gaming could hold the W1 onto the carts with melees out on respawn, and they would win the game. So, yeah, I mean, this is all garbage time. We'll see if anyone can do anything funny.
yeah, Jacob decloaking gets caught out immediately. Cart is trying to get moved up, but defending it. 1 kill after another. Uber now popped out. Blake nowhere near. GG's coming out in chat. It will be Witness Gaming taking the technically an upset by seed order. Not sure if we had some kind of betting odds that Witness would have been the underdog coming into this regardless, but showing that loss they had in the regular season, maybe a bit of a fluke, putting themselves into the grand finals with that map advantage. DK now going to have to go fight a very, very hungry Rib in the lower brackets if they're going to want to get the rematch.
Yeah, and I wouldn't even call the regular season match a result of product of fluke. I just think that product is a map where if you're playing better, if the teams are evenly matched and you're playing better on the day, you're just going to win it. And at the end of it, it goes down to a 3-3. If dumb kids pull out that last round, this match looks entirely different. You know, they lose 0-2 on Vigil. We're thinking, oh, it's whatever. You know, they planned for this. They knew that double Koth would be their avenue to victory. And then we go to Asheville, and things can go either way. But once you lose that product and you're not prepared on Vigil, this is what happens. And dumb kids get very punished for not winning their map pick. And that's product. Sometimes you just don't win the map pick.
And here's what I'm going to say. As good as he was, I think this was Brian on somewhat of an off day. Even him going, you know, being off for that very first half is more than we usually see from him. Definitely not one of the better days we've seen out of him. And I think that if you ran these maps back another few times, I would not be convinced that Witness Gaming wins product a majority of them.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, like the regular season result of like 4-2, I'd say if you played 10 times on product, dumb kids probably go 6-4 or 7-3.
Yeah, which is what what I'm leaning into here is that in the event that DK beats Rib, which I would say they're favored to do, if you see the same maps come out, I'm going to be concerned. I think this week showed that there is a very, very big gap between DK's Koth and DK's payload. And was it Vigil and not Swiftwater? Yes. Do I think that, you know, DK is going to be miraculously good enough on Swiftwater compared to Vigil? I don't really think so.
Yeah, I mean, keep in mind, in that potential Grand Finals rematch that we're looking at as the likely scenario, best of 5 means that there's another map, there's more maps unbanned and more maps to pick, so I agree. I think that Witness, if they ban Swiftwater again, either one of two things. Either they really feel like behind closed doors their Swiftwater is not up to par, like maybe something happened in like scrims with DK like the week of, or something else. Or they're just very big fans of if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
I don't like that if it ain't broke, don't fix it strategy when we very nearly saw a repeat of what happened last season with, you know, a pretty solid stopwatch win and 2 Koth losses. If Brian comes in hot to a potential Grand Finals rematch between these two teams on the same maps, it's going to come down to the wire.
Yeah, but that is for another time, because, I mean, that's it for the results tonight. Witness Gaming moving on to the Grand Finals, going to be in there looking to get another title. Meanwhile, Dumb Kids drop and face Rib in the lower finals. So, I mean, they had a competitive game on Proot in the regular season, so even though Dumb Kids are favorites, Run It Back can hopefully at least make it a close one. This is a rematch of last week's match.
Yeah, indeed it will be. And, you know, we saw Rib have some moments before, even though that was, you know, kind of the 1 versus 4 matchup. So they'll get another, you know, another bite at the apple, another piece of the pie, another shot at the champ. So see how the maps kind of, you know, swap up from round to round. I don't think Rib ever looked entirely outclassed last week. You know, I think they got around on Koth. I think they able to take a half off. They took a half off on stopwatch, right?
I think they did.
I think it was a 2-1.
I don't remember.
So yeah, should be a good one, and that will happen on Sunday of next week. So you get some weekend Highlander matches, and then the Grand Finals will be the day afterwards. So otherwise, Zach, I think it's going to be about it from us. Any closing thoughts?
I mean, Witness Gaming just, in my mind, solidified themselves as front runners for the title, and like that seems obvious at, like, you know, outset when you say that if they just 2-0'd the upper finals. But to me, after this performance, I feel like it's a foregone conclusion that they win stopwatch, and then you just have to win one of the calls, which you've shown that you can coin flip at best.
don't even have to. If assuming Witness is going to be in Grands, they have the map advantage.
Oh yeah, so they
They
get a free
can
one, right?
force
So
they can force the map picks to be stopwatch Koth, whereas they only need to win the 2 stopwatch matches, and it forces then whoever plays against them to win both Koths and a stopwatch if they want to catch them.
yeah, so dumb kids, if they want that title, they need to find a stopwatch that works. And if Swiftwater is going to be banned, then I guess upward. Like maybe practice your upward. Good luck.
Yeah. I think we'll see, but it's hard for me to argue that just because you win on the Koth doesn't mean it was the best decision to let them get double Koth. Feels like you kind of escaped here rather than if it was a 4-0 on product, right, or like a 4-1, even a 4-2, it'd be one thing. That went down to a golden cap.
Yeah, I mean, well, you can stew on that one for 6 days.
I don't got to stew on anything. I know exactly how I feel about the matter. But yeah, that will be it from us. So thank you for watching, and congratulations to both Rib and to Witness Gaming tonight, both winning and moving on. DK drop it into the lower bracket. Well, they'll have to put Rib through their paces one more time if they want to make it back to the grand finals. Rib, meanwhile, looking to pull up one of the bigger upsets in recent memory. So again, that will be Sunday night, not Monday. You're not going to want to miss that. So be sure to be there. Otherwise, thank you for watching. Have a good night.